Did you know goldenrod makes an excellent tea?
Happy birthday to me. Happy birthday, dear Aaron.
Me.
You are a sad, strange little man, and you have my pity.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Tomic's veteran of the comic book industry for 30 years. I'm a writer, I'm an artist, and this sucks.
Tonight's episode, Death Watch.
Don't start! We haven't left yet!
Woo! Let's go! I had another one of those today, this morning, from Dutch Brothers Energy Drink, and I'm wired. Not really. I'm kind of cold, although I'm starting to get warmed up again. So maybe, as my daughter calls it, the Nosferatu overcoat will be coming off. Do you guys realize this is the third straight week that I've had a guest on this show? It's freaking unbelievable. What's wrong with me? No, we have Abra'S 2 Cents will be joining us. She came to my attention, I don't know, over a year ago probably, when she actually posted a positive review about Wraith of God. And I said, I like this lady. So anyway, we'll have her on, hear her story. But we'll be doing a lot of the same usual stuff. We'll just include her. Once again, no Shelley showtime tonight. The back is bothering her. She was up yesterday baking goods, and so it just kind of wore her out. She was hoping to make the show today, but I told her, I said, when she comes back, it's going to be a monumental event. So anyway, it's just me until Abra shows up, and then we'll have a good old time. We'll try and have a good time before she gets here as well. And this is the special Thanksgiving edition of Aaron Live. What does that mean? I don't know that it's going to be any different than any other edition of Aaron Live, except I will bring up Thanksgiving at least 2 more times during the show. So I guess that sort of warrants the special Happy Thanksgiving Day special show that we're doing. So anyway, before we move too far down the road, let's see who's here. Squibs is here. I don't know if he was the first one in, but he's the first one showing on my screen. So Squibs says, Happy Thanksgiving, Aaron, and all of Comicsgate. First one in the house. You know what you get for that? Nothing, but we appreciate your participation. Thank you for showing up. Howler 6480 is here. Wizard Sleeves. He said, I thought this was going to be a morning show. No, that'll never happen with me. Leg Kick is here because Leg Kick is almost always here. Leg Kick reminds me, people are getting their Blood Hunters books. Shelley and I have shipped out over 500 packages at this point, which is about a quarter of the way through. I think we'll have everything shipped sometime during the first week of December. At least that's what I'm shooting for. We shall see. This week could get a little bit slower because of the holidays and all that kind of stuff. But I did want to share with you, this, of course, is a award-winning cover that is on the cover A version of Wraith of God Blood Hunters, also known as Wraith of God 2. It's right there. Issue number 2. So there's 4 stories in here. There's a Wraith of God story, which is 53 pages, and then there's a Garbage Man story, which is 16 pages, a Nightclub story, which is 15, and Kit Carter, kind of a preview thing, that's 14 pages. So there's just all sorts of content in here, which of course is prompting people to let me know what was their favorite or what they liked and what they didn't like. When they tell me stuff they didn't like, I ignore them. But when they tell me stuff they did like, I take note of it. And Leg Kick, of course, said that he enjoyed the Kit Carter because it was so different than when everything else I was doing. I won't tell you what else he said because I'd have to give him a cannonball if I did. But and then I just talked to somebody else who said, "Man, the Garbage Man story was the best." And so it's kind of cool, kind of interesting to hear people's different opinions about what they liked in the book or which story spoke to them. But anyway, let's keep this moving. Enough about me for the moment. Of course, we'll be talking about me later on. Creative Faye is here. Happy Thanksgiving, Aaron. Hope you have a great, nice feast. Thank you. I'm starving myself so that I can use as much as I want on Thursday. Here in the Steadfast is here. Repairman Jack. Of course, got to bring up the Nebraska football game. Man, the first quarter of Nebraska game had me hoping. That quarterback, some speed, though. Yeah, had me hoping too. But of course, Nebraska lost in overtime, but at least they got to overtime. So that's almost like a win. Anyway, okay. Caleb Reynolds is here. Ryo Stu is here. Matt Barr, how about that? He says, "Hail Abra, what's up, Aaron?" And hail the chat. Thanks for joining us, Matt. Let's see. I already said Caleb. Randy Howell, all the way from Canada, is here. Says turkey's good eating. Dan, the pizza man Genovese. Good evening, Aaron. I ate pizza today. I did not, so I'm jealous. And let's see here. H is for Heretic, Sequential Treasure. James, so are you going to see a lot of turkey in this show? And I'm not just talking about Aaron. Let me see here. What can we do to respond? Oh, here we go. There we go. Let's see here. There we go. Citizen Ronan's here. James Murphy, Dr. Mass Retro Elixir, sorry, Past Master Dan, singing a little Aerosmith there for us. Dream on, dream until your dreams come true. I will do that. Hidden Hand Media is here. I wonder if Aaron will have a segment with some weird turkey shenanigans. No, but we're doing top 5 today, and top 5 is going to be my favorite 5 Thanksgiving dishes, because I saw a list like top 10. I also saw a top 10 list of their most hated, which is unusual because it's like the same as people's top 10 favorite. It's just in different order. So, because there's only a limited amount of dishes, I guess, you have for Thanksgiving. Let's see here. Stippling Vaughn's here. I got my copy of Blood Hunters and to imitate Tony the Tiger. These babes look great. Thank you very much. Is there a half turkey, half Bigfoot cryptid? Says H is for Heretic. Wouldn't that be something? I did not find any, but you never know. Let's see here. Nordic Nerd is here. And Hidden Media is here. Solitary Rain is here. Squeaky, of course, is here. She's usually close behind Geek Avenger. I'm going to cough. Excuse me. Marcus Killiger, the purveyor of all things pop culture. Knowledge is here. My homie and personal rival, Ellie McComicsgate, is here. Let's see. Going down the list. Yeah, I already mentioned you. Geek Avengers, he's promoting the book saying, if you haven't got Wraith of God Blood Hunters yet, there's a lot more action than the first one. And Esther gets a more in-depth storyline without spoilers, of course. Yeah, I think I treated Esther all right in this book. It's really the book is about the second stage of their relationship and how they're going to move forward. So there's some decent stuff in there for you guys that are into the characters as well as the adventure that they go on. So Brian Suddenly Old is here. Some person is here. I don't know which person is, but some person. Did I end up going backwards? I think I'm reading stuff that I've already read. Kevin Thomas is here. Christina Lynn has made the trip. Thank you for joining us, Christina. I think we sent out your books already, Christina. And it was funny because it always cracks me up when people that actually work on the book actually pay to back it, which I appreciate. But then I feel like, well, you contributed to the book. I should give you something for free. So I think I added something to your order. I can't remember now. It's like a ham sandwich or something. So I don't know if it's going to be any good when it gets to you, but it's the thought that counts. Let's see here. Paul Taylor's here, a resident biologist, made the trip in. Thank you. He's also a Canadian. There's nothing wrong with that, of course. Nornrad 2 Turbo's here, chanting one of my many names, Lopez. He says, Arnold, I wonder if that's a reference to last week's Streets of San Francisco episode. Indeed, it is, Paul. You should try the ice caps from Tim Hortons. I don't even know what that means, Paul, but thank you for sharing. There's a dog behind me. Thankfully, it's my dog, and there's very little chance he'll attack me. Brian Suddenly Old says, great job on Blood Hunters, Aaron. Thank you very much, Brian. I appreciate that. I guess you got your copy and read it. Well, you're in the B's. So it's going alphabetical by first name. And then Shelley is mixing in various for whatever reason. So it's pretty much 90% alphabetical by first name. But every once in a while I'll find one and go, why is that in here? Because Shelley just gets a wild hair sometimes. And, so there's no rhyme or reason. If you guys bought original artwork from me, it's coming. I'm shipping them out about the same time that your book order comes up. Then it'll say, of course, that you backed the original art. So I'll package up the original art and send it out. It goes out priority mail, whereas the books go out media mail. So you'll get your original art before you get the books. But I haven't forgotten about you. There was a lot of original art perks on the campaign, so they're getting out as we go. Aaron needs a beanie and headphones to stay warm. I do have a beanie. I may switch to the beanie sooner than later. If you want to be a guest on, make sure that's pretty much, yeah. I don't know that I've made any bones about that. Pity Moss here. Pity Moss says, hail Aaron and Abra. Abra, I enjoy your reviews very much. Hugs to Shelley. Abra's not here yet, but I'll tell her you said that. I'll probably forget. But Evil One, you only get half of my attention since Shelley isn't here. That seems reasonable, actually. Randy Hall, turkey jerky for snack time? No, not exactly. Paul Taylor's always in favor of holidays involving food. That would be me too. 200 Watt Studios here. Kellraiser, of course, is here. Gary Bruce. Gary, you have two identities. I won't reveal the other one just in case you don't want them connected. Let's see here. Let's see. Evil One. Aaron can't handle criticism either. I pretend that I can, but I'm like everybody else. I can't. I don't like it. It doesn't bother. It's funny. When I take art criticism, I'm just like, yeah, okay, whatever. It doesn't really bother me because I kind of know where I'm at artistically. So it's kind of like, so if someone gives me criticism, I either know if it's legit or bogus. But writing, I'm a little bit more sensitive about it, maybe because I haven't done it as much. And so if people criticize my writing, it really gets under my skin. And then I go out and violently assault homeless people because I figure that's the people I can assault people without getting caught. Of course, I'm joking. I would never do that. Yeah, so it's weird that the criticism for the art just is like, what do they say? Water off a duck's back. But you criticize my writing and I'm a little more sensitive about it, but I get over it pretty quickly. And then I kind of step back and go, okay, is this legit? Is this merited? Should I take this into consideration? And then, of course, I always say the same answer. No, why would I? No, of course I do. All Gold Productions is here. Nice hat. Thank you. Daniel Russell's here. Mr. Solomon, who I hear is very wise, has joined us. Keely Chow is here. He wants to know what's going on. I have no idea. We'll find out, though, as we progress. Some person, not any person, but some person is here. Keely Chow, how about them Cowboys? I'm not a Cowboy fan. So I don't really care. I was in the 70s. I was a Steelers fan, and the Steelers and Cowboys always played, seemed like every year in the Super Bowl. Of course, they didn't, but they did a lot. And so that was always a great rivalry. Past Master Van, he's asking like he already knows the answer to this question. Yeah, they did. Jake Blues is here. They're all roll tide, roll tide. Yeah, Alabama, it looks like they're getting their act together and playing pretty good ball right now. 40% Zed says, what could someone possibly dislike about Thanksgiving? I know, the more food, the better. That's kind of how I look at it. Citizen Ronan is like, la, 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 la. I haven't got my book yet. Blame Shelley. She's printing up the labels. Robert the Bruce is here. Zombie Boy is here. Jeremy Burtz, thanks for joining us. I know Jeremy got his books because he posted on Twitter that he got them. But see, Jeremy's in the Jays and we're not there yet, so I don't know how he got his book. But he did. And that's just the way it works sometimes. Evil One for $2. Thank you so much. Who taught you how to dance, old geezer? Nobody. My daughter, who's a dance major and an accomplished dancer as well as choreographer, she finds me very amusing. Randy Hall says some of my best friends are Canadian, and that's true because he is, of course, Canadian. Pantheon is here. Am I missing anybody? B-Spin, look at that. Didn't Radar and MASH have a wacky filing system and filed docs under people's first names? Seems familiar. I haven't watched that show in ages, but I used to watch it all the time. Ronan, of course, Aaron Lepresti, noted futurist. That would be me. I know what you're referring to. I just spun that yarn not too long ago. Where was I when I told that story? On Graybeards, I think. I'm everywhere and nowhere at once. It's amazing. B-Spin. Okay, we got B-Spin. Didn't I get B-Spin? I think I got B. Old Dirty Fatty showing up. Thank you so much. Look at the effort I put into to welcome everybody. I think I should get that's on the back for that. Dennis C. No Lasako. Aaron's writing sucks. See, he's trying to get under my skin, but no, not today. Not while I'm live on the air. Nothing bothers me. Geek Avenger for $5. Thank you so much. Art critics are parasites. Stanislaw Susklowski, the Polish sculptor, known for having thrown a critic down a flight of stairs. I'm not quite that angry, I don't think. Henry Bemis is here all the way from Oregon. I was Zaru. It was Zaru. It was Zaru. It was Zaru. Was Zaru. I was Zaru. I was Zaru. Maybe the readers are just reading wrong. That's it. No, I'm not saying I'm getting a ton of criticism. I'm just saying that when I do get criticism, it's a little. I remember when my Garbage Man first came out, this guy, I was working on it. It hadn't come out yet. This guy contacted me, says, oh yeah, I'm a reporter, online reporter. And, I want to do this article on you. So he interviewed me and we talked about my career and all that kind of stuff. Talked a little bit about Garbage Man because it was coming up. So I was still at DC. And so I did this article. I was very, I thought, gracious and helpful to him. He was new. He was, trying to get some interviews out there, sending him artwork to post. And I thought I did a pretty good job of, being friendly and helpful. So Garbage Man comes out and he just destroyed it, just ripped it apart. Really got ticked off. Not that because I did him a favor by doing the interview and that he owed me anything, but it's, you kind of feel like, did I just get set up? I don't know. But I thought his criticisms, for the most part, were shallow and not really, they were just kind of surface level BS criticisms. And so I got annoyed with him and I did respond to one of his online critiques. And I said, you better stop reading Garbage Man. I don't want to put you in the hospital. It seems like you're in quite a bit of, suffering while you're reading it. Never heard from him again. Interesting. Thanks for pointing that out, Jeremy. Appreciate it quite a bit. Not really. Let's see. Eric the Guapo's here. Nice little rascals. This is a Newsies hat, Eric. Jeez. Get with it, man. Geek Avenger, another 2. Made you laugh, Aaron. You did. And it's really difficult to make a grumpy old man laugh. So I appreciate it when you actually are successful at that. Peaceful Piano is here. Wishing you and your friends a very happy and peaceful evening. Thank you so much. Back to you. See, there's a nice person. John Platt. I just clicked on the wrong thing. That's Cole King. Good to see you, brother. Thank you for joining us, man. I appreciate it. Shadows Pawn is here. Looking forward to Wraith of God 2. Thank you. Hopefully you'll be getting it soon. Evil One. Aaron is apparently a journeyman artist and a writer. That ticks me off. I hate being called a journeyman because I'm better than that. And but people look at me as being a journeyman because I've been around forever. And it's hard to kind of pinpoint one book that made a big splash, right? So you kind of get this, journeyman. And I just got that'll get under my skin. I know you're joking, but you better be joking. I know you're joking, so I'll let it slide. Nomadaman's here. Zaid, a foreman. I don't know what you mean. Let's. Nomadaman's making meatballs. Good for you. That sounds good. Don't go the way of Kelsey, Aaron. No. I'll never get that angry and grumpy. Okay. John Platt. Did I call out John Platt? It says, "Hey, Aaron, how is your Kickstarter campaign doing? What platform is it on? Indiegogo, Kickstarter, in front of my comic?" It is on Indiegogo. The link is in the description of this video. Take you right there. I opened the first 24 hours were a record for me. It closes, first 30 days closes out Friday, which is kind of bad timing, like the holiday and everything. So I will be streaming Friday night a little bit. I don't know where I'm at though, compared right now to where I'm at compared to the other campaigns. Cause I only sort of looked at the numbers, first 24 hours, first 30 days for, before I go in demand, those type of things. And then of course, where it closed at. And so kind of trying to categorize it and judge it as it's going along, it's kind of hard because I don't really have those benchmarks for, 21 days or 25 days. But it seems to be doing pretty well still. So I got a long way to go to hit the numbers I really need to hit. But, this is such a long drawn out process. And plus now we're getting close to the holidays, which makes me a little nervous. It's probably going to really slow down. So we're trying to push big before we get too close to Christmas and then just kind of ride out the holiday wave or the holiday, it's not a wave, it's a drought maybe, and then see if things pick back up in the spring. But so far so good, I believe. I think we're doing well, but not as well as I would like. Because you never do as well as you'd like. There it is, Aaron. Paperboy, Lopresti. People even know what a paperboy is anymore? I don't know. Oh, look who's here. I see you in the back room, Abra. I can see you. This is what happens. I just start talking. I never get anything done. And suddenly the guest is here and we got to go. We got to go to the guest. So enough talking to you guys. Let's start talking to Abra. Everybody put your hands together. A big warm welcome, of course, for one of my favorite gals on the internet, Abra'S 2 cents. There she is. Hey.
Hello. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. How's everyone doing?
Professional. You got that big round microphone thing and you got headphones on and I look like I just woke up and I'm like, turn my camera on.
They say fake it till you make it. So
that's right.
That's what I'm trying to do.
That's good. Thank you for joining me. We've been talking about this for quite some time. Ever since you did a positive review of Wraith of God, I'm like, I got to have her on my show. And I'm just incredibly lazy. So you kept bugging me and I said, okay, we're going to do it. We're going to do it. And we did it. So here we are.
Yay.
So now that I've had you on, thanks everybody for coming. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
All right. So you have a YouTube channel.
I do.
Where you do reviews and other strange things on occasion.
Strange,
and
yes.
Well, I saw you did a sort of a dramatic reading of
Black Riding
John
Hood.
Malin's little Black Riding Hood, which I thought was pretty funny.
It was either that or genderqueer. I thought Black Riding Hood would be safer.
I appreciate the John Malin reading. Actually, they were EFAPing you. Did you know that?
Oh yeah. I caught it.
So
I'm glad I could provide amusement to the masses.
One of the hardest things to do, of course, as you know, is provide content for your shows, and the easiest thing is, hey, if I can EFAP somebody, they're providing content for my show, and I don't have to do anything.
Yeah.
But I'm sure Malin was very interested in your review, and it sounded like it was very positive. So I'm sure you've got a new friend.
I actually enjoyed it. I could see the character going on and doing other things. So I hope he gets back and does more with Darius and that character. Yeah, it's a little over the top, tongue in cheek kind of stuff, but I thought it was fun. And, it's not exactly pushing the envelope, but, it's kind of bending it a little bit.
Bending the envelope.
Yeah. Yeah. So I like that aspect of it, especially this day and age where, everyone's all in a tizzy clutching their pearls over everything. So yeah.
Okay. So you have, at least for my money, and I got to tell you, my money doesn't go very far. So you can take this with a grain of salt.
Nobody's does anymore.
But I don't really pay attention to all that much stuff because I'm usually working or doing something.
Right. Being productive.
But I was really impressed with your videos and how you put them together and everything, which
oh, thank you.
Makes me want to ask you, well, first of all, what are you a comic books fan from way back? Is this something new to you? Give us a little bit of Abra'S 2 cents origin story. How did you even become a geek girl?
Well, I was never like one of the typical kind of girly girls growing up. When I grew up in the 80s. So I was into Ninja Turtles. I loved Thundercats, a little bit into He-Man, a little bit into Voltron. The stuff that was really flashy and colorful on screen, that's what grabbed my attention. But I did like the Barbies too, but it was just, they had to share their space with my Ninja Turtles. So I'd have Barbie down in the Ninja Turtle sewer, and I'd have the turtles up in the Barbie, apartment building and everything. So everyone lived together in their happy little universe. But
so this was a natural inclination to you to sort of be, for example, for me, my mom was a big sci-fi fan, and
my mother too. Yeah.
And so I sort of picked that up from her. Like I was watching Star Trek when I was 4 years old because my mom was watching it. Right. So your mom fits into that same category apparently. And so you kind of got that from her a little bit.
Very much so. Yeah. My dad, he kind of, growing up in the days where you only had the one TV in there, he just kind of acquiesced to my mom, and we would watch reruns of the original Star Trek. And then, of course, I was there for The Next Generation when that first aired, and just kind of took the sci-fi / geek world by storm, so to speak. But yeah, I grew up with that. My big thing was Doctor Who for a while. And unfortunately, the show's kind of left me.
You're not the only one.
Yeah. But, I rather than just beating a dead horse, I still have the old episodes that I can go back to and that I love. But yeah, that was always that kind of, I guess, geek culture, the love for sci-fi, the love for, even though I wasn't really, you asked if I was into comics. I wasn't into comic books per se, but my mom was a huge reader. There was this up the road. I didn't live in the best neighborhood growing up. So our bookstore was actually an adult bookstore.
Well, go ahead. I've got a similar story. But
yeah. So, but, and it was called the Bookworm, and right next to a 7-Eleven. And my mom would go there because she had a nice collection of, like sci-fi books.
Now, was this like a used bookstore? And
yes.
Like part of it was like porn, and the other part was like normal books.
Yes. So I'm sitting there. I'm a kid. I don't understand this stuff. So I would go with my mom there, and I don't know how this was allowed, but I went in with my mom, and they had, one of those old Coke machines where you'd get the bottles and you could, get the soda caps off of them and everything right at the machine. And she had an old spinner rack. So yeah, 70s porn music. Exactly. Yeah. Bow, chicka, wow, wow.
Well, the music.
Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, it was blaring on the radio there, but
we had about, let me interrupt you just for a sec. We had a bookstore called Looking Glass Bookstore, and it was now this wasn't in my neighborhood. We had to go into Portland, but it was back in the day when a bunch of kids would get on a bus and you ride to Portland and you'd make it back alive.
You're slumming it.
And, our parents didn't care because those were all the used bookstores was on, Southeast Portland. We were over on the west side, and that's where you'd get your old comics, right? Because there wasn't comic book shops at that point. And so there was this place called Looking Glass Bookstore. And the guy that ran it was actually an advisor to the Overstreet Price Guide, right? But it was a porn bookstore. Half of it was porn, and the other half was like comics and regular paperbacks.
Yeah.
And they would allow us kids to walk this straight path right into the little comic book room where he had, and we could not stray into the adult section.
Right, right. That's kind of how it was.
Next to a porn theater.
Oh my God.
I guess if my mom knew we were like taking the bus and what we were going into, she would have lost her mind. But it was just one of the better used comic shops in the area, but it
different
was
times
slash porn. So anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but that was kind of the thing. And my, they had a very limited supply of comics there. I think most of them were DC comics, just in a spinner rack. And I ended up falling in love with the Flash comics. So I would read, some of the old Flash comics. And then I found more from a local flea market too. But I wasn't like a comic book fan. I wasn't, every week running off to get comics. I respected the characters and the heroes and everything, but just wasn't an avid follower. Fast forward years later in my adult life, my ex-husband at the time got me into board gaming. And
man, you are a well-rounded nerd. I mean, you are like, you've got tentacles in
everything. Yeah, it's true. Unfortunately, I don't play it as much or play the board games as much as I used to. I got really big into a game called Dice Masters because I have a little bit of an obsessive compulsive nature. So I don't know why I gravitated towards those collectible card games, but I didn't want to get into Magic or Yu-Gi-Oh or Pokemon because those had been out for years. And I'm like, I'm going to get annihilated by a 4-year-old. Let me try this new game. So Dice Masters, the concept was, it was kind of like a, collectible card game, but instead of you playing with the cards just had your base stats and everything. And then you had dice. And the dice represented your characters, what abilities they could use at the time. And I so geeky, I did like the tournaments and went to nationals and worlds and all that. But very, very niche community.
Well, I was at a show in Germany, and it was they brought us over there, Shelley and I, and actually, I think this is the same trip that Graham Nolan, was on as well, and his wife, and we. They took us to this. It was like the biggest. It was like San Diego Comic-Con, except it was for board games.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my gosh, what was that thing called? It's been a while. So
I can't remember.
It's
but
huge.
It was unbelievable. And
Yaris or something like that.
What would you say? Was it
Yaris or something? Spiel?
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't sprechen, unfortunately.
Yeah, me either. But we had a small corner where we were like, the comic book people, and everything else was just this incredible board game convention. So you'd have been right at home there.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, going around playing all those. But so I wanted to learn more about the characters and the abilities. So, in my mind, I could kind of, feel like I was this character. And they were introducing, as the game expanded, they would add, the more obscure comic book characters. So I'm like, all right, I don't really know who Wonder Man is and, all this. So let me see what these characters are all about. And so that ended up bringing me to the comic historian, the guy that you can kind of
right. Oh yeah.
Flash or whatever. And he'll give you the whole rundown on the series. Right. And so then, with the beauty of YouTube suggestions, it just sort of sucked me down that rabbit hole. So I ended up finding your boy, Zach, Richard C. Meyer. Mm-hmm. And then I got addicted to that because I was like, how is there this much controversy surrounding comic books? This makes no sense. Mm-hmm. And it was right about that time you started really noticing the changes in the world, like, for what I would consider the normal person. They're kind of looking around going, this is odd. like it's not feeling right anymore. And then so that kind of led me over to Comicsgate and EVS. And so, from there, that's how I kind of got into the whole Comicsgate movement. And I'm a big advocate for freedom of speech and, being able to produce content and not being restricted. So, as long as it's not hurting anybody. So the Comicsgate movement became kind of near and dear to my heart, even though I don't actually create comics. I want there to be an outlet for for you guys to be able to produce what you want to produce and not be gate kept, so to speak. And so that's kind of what led me to all this. And then after a while, kind of watching YouTube, I was like, I'd like to weigh in a little bit. I'd like to give my 2 cents on things. And just kind of, I like watching movies and whatnot. So I thought I would just try my hand at the whole maybe pop culture kind of thing. I'm still trying to get my niche kind of thing for my channel, but just kind of commentary on the craziness of the world and whatnot. But yeah, I like creating. In terms of learning how to do the edits and everything. I had to learn the video software and everything on my own, but YouTube being what it is, you can learn.
That's right. You got your classroom already set up. You just
exactly. So, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No. I was just go ahead and finish your thought.
Yeah, I was just going to add that pretty much anything, if you can think of it, you can kind of Google it and figure out how to do it. So that's the nice thing about where we are today with technology. But it has its pros and cons too.
Yeah. No. Well, let's not get into AI just yet.
Oh Lord, no.
So the Geek Easy wants to know when you said the Flash, the Barry Allen Flash.
Barry Allen's my Flash because I actually grew up watching the old John Wesley Ship show that ran for I think only one season. And I thought this is amazing. I mean, that seemed like the most out there show that you could do for TV at the time. It only lasted 1 year, I guess, because it cost too much. But I loved it. I thought it was great.
I watched it too. I was a little bit older than you, but when I was watching it, I did. 40% Zed says ex-husband. You say, well,
I'm
married,
sorry.
So
I'm sorry.
She's off the market already.
Yeah, I apologize.
Evil One says, Aaron talking to women about porn theaters, real classy. Aaron, she brought it up.
I did. I'm sorry.
I'm innocent in all of this.
Painting another channel. There I go.
Caleb Reynolds says, but Abra, did you collect Bionicles? My son collected Bionicles.
I remember the toys, but no, I was definitely into my Ninja Turtles. I had well over 200 of the toys. I tried to hold on to them for as long as I could, but just moving around, space being what it is, I actually had to part with it before I moved to Pensacola in 2020. So one lone tear. I miss them. I mean, it's, you become an adult, you're supposed to give up childish things, but it's hard.
Yeah. Well, have any of us really given up childish things?
No.
We try to treat them a bit more maturely, but I mean, all you have to do is look behind me. There's a dinosaur behind me, for crying out loud. I mean, it's,
I can't turn it off, but my cyber frog, figures. I love, playing with those and posing those. And
oh my goodness. So I was going to ask you this question, but you already answered it. So now I don't have anything else left to ask you. No, I'm kidding. So you thought you just wanted to get into this YouTube space and see if you could add something to it.
Right.
And all the graphics and things that you're doing on your channel, you're doing those yourself because you taught yourself how to do it.
Yes. And I did actually way back when. This is kind of scratching an itch for me because when I was younger, I looked into going to film school, and I actually looked into Full Sail, which is
we talked about that.
Yeah, a very, very expensive, overpriced school in sort of a suburb outside of Orlando, Florida. I think it's Winter Park or Winter Haven, around there. And I actually did a tour of the campus and everything, and it's legit. I mean, they utilize, or at least at the time, this was like 22 years ago, but they took the money that they were receiving from tuition, it looked like, and really pumping it into the school I mean, the whole thing looked like a Hollywood, backlot set and everything. They had, all the cameras with the mechanical arms and all that. And I went there at the time, and I got my ex-husband and I, we were married really young. So it was kind of like we're going and looking at everything. We're just calculating like, okay, so I wanted to do the cinematography. And then I was thinking about a backup doing like audio studio recording, so I could kind of supplement maybe income here or there. Maybe we were talking about maybe doing a home studio or something like that, where we could bring in aspiring artists and get demos up and running for them and whatnot. But doing the math, it just really wasn't within our budget at the time. It was like, I think it would have been $130,000, back then.
It's not, I got news for you, honey. That's not my budget now.
Yeah, okay. It was, yeah. I was just, but the cool thing about Full Sail, and I don't know how effective this would be, but they did kind of arrange for a lot of their graduates to get internships. But I mean, the way everything kind of turned out with Hollywood, I don't know where that internship might have gone. You'd be like, oh, here's the guy that's going to be your intern, or you're going to intern for Harvey Weinstein or something like that.
I probably would have welcomed you with open arms.
Yeah, I would have ran away for sure. But I think everything turned out the way it was supposed to.
Usually does.
And, we ended up focusing on his career, which was good. It helped us progress through life and everything. And we eventually, ended up going different ways in life. Again, an example of everything just kind of working out, I guess, how it was meant to. And, but I always had that itch. Like I want to create, I used to take art classes when I was in school, but, I didn't keep up with it. And it's like your craft, you have to, keep at it to maintain that level. And I'm not really an artist. I like creating things, but more on the movie, kind of visual aspect of it.
Sure.
I love going to movies and watching, the creative cinematography, unique camera angles. I actually went back and watched Apocalypse Now, and just a couple weeks ago, and I was just blown away by some of the camera work that they did. And considering when it was filmed, it mustn't have been easy trying to get some of those cameras in the positions that they did, but it really blew me away. And the funny thing is, I remember watching that movie maybe 15, 18 years ago, and I didn't like it. But then when I watched it 3 weeks ago, I don't know if maybe having more life experiences or the mood I was in when I was watching it. But I loved it. I just had this whole new respect for it. So
it's funny how you can, I do this a lot. I look back on original reviews when a movie first came out, and then you look at reviews now and how people's perspective changes on the exact same movie. Right. I mean, when The Thing came out, Carpenter just got dissed. This is horrible, blah, blah. I liked it when it came out, but most people did not, or at least critics. Now it's considered a classic.
Yes.
Right. But it's the same movie. Right. So it's like, how does that always irritated me, because I just think that's one of the reasons I was kind of dissing kind of lightheartedly on critics earlier before you came on.
Yeah.
And it is that's one of the reasons why I don't like critics, is because they don't seem to be consistent in anything that they're doing. I mean, there's some good ones out there that are consistent. And those are the guys, or women or men, whoever's doing the critiquing, that you can sort of count on. You can say, okay, I know what this person likes and it's in line with what I like, so I can trust but when you see someone review a movie and then 20 years later, it goes from this movie sucked to this is a brilliant classic. You're like,
how does that happen?
Sort of artistic integrity at all,
Yeah. But it's weird how, where you are in life, your mood at the time, obviously, if the movie's new and you're watching it, another example I have is Fight Club. When that movie came out, I was just, I was younger, and, I guess when you're that age, everything is like edgy, you know, you want it to be gritty, you still have kind of angst. And I was like, yeah, you know, fight the man, burn the banks, and all this kind of stuff. I was like, I walked out of it. I'm like, yeah, this movie's really making a statement. And I still like Fight Club. I watched it, I think 2 years ago, rewatched it, and it obviously didn't have the same impact on me. You know, now that I've lived a little bit more and
right. Well, I think it's kind of like Sixth Sense, right? Once you've seen it the first time through, you know, it's kind of the ending is sort of half the movie in a way, or the reveal. And so I think it's kind of hard to sort of recapture that, you know, initial
right.
charge.
It wasn't even that Tyler Durden twist, which I don't want to say I saw somebody didn't see it. It was just, I don't know. At the time, I liked it for its grittiness, and now it just kind of seems derivative, or not derivative. Everything, I guess, is gritty now, so it's just kind of like,
right,
oh, yeah.
Exactly. It was fresh at the time,
exactly.
And now you've seen so much of it, it's like it doesn't really have the impact that it
right.
did.
I find myself going back now. It's funny. My husband, he wants to watch newer movies now. And I'm like, no, I want to go back and watch the stuff from the 60s and the 70s or even earlier. Because I'm so over the movies today that are just, you know, either weak plot, horrible script, combination thereof, or, you know, everything's just a special effects extravaganza, you know, being thrown at your face. And
I've always... I understand what happened in the 60s with film, where the studio started breaking down and the actors and producers got more power, and you know, everybody got, you know, control of their projects, and you know, that there's obviously a ton of good with that. However, I always have looked back and said, it seems, and I know this is probably not true if you take in every film that was ever made, but it seems like when you had studios in control and you had the right person in control of the studio, there was a level of quality control that was in place that kept a lot of crap from ever getting out there. And if it was crap, it was meant to be crap. Like, okay, these are our B movies, you know, you can go whatever. But, you know, if we're going to put...
Or like the Doctor Strangelove, where it's supposed to be campy and
right,
over the top. But I think a lot of it, the problem too, is... movies are made by committee now, but I mean, that's the same with a lot of our art these days. It's by committee. Well,
and committee by a group of people that don't know what they're doing generally are the ones making up the committee. And that's what the problem is.
Yeah.
I mean, I've shared this story before, but I had a conversation with a comic book writer of pretty well known, but I won't drop his name because he may not want me telling the story, but or mentioning his name on my channel.
Yeah. I gotcha.
More true. But anyway, we were at a con once talking, and I was just like, God, why do we keep seeing all this crap in film? What happened to, basically what happened to the good old days? And he said, the people that are really good at making movies, or in this case, true of comics or anything, they want to be making the product. And so that leaves this huge void for who's going to be in charge, because the people that are like the executives and stuff, they're not creative people. So the creative people want to be making the stuff.
Yeah.
So that leaves this huge hole where all these people that have no talent and are numbers people or whatever, they take these positions of power over the creative people, then they end up ruining everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I thought, well, that makes perfect sense. That's why, you don't have... And it's the same way in comics right now. It used to be editors would be like writers or artists that just got tired of the freelance tediness and always looking for your next job. And so then they kind of graduated to become editors at Marvel or DC. And so you had guys in place that knew what they were doing, knew what was good, knew what wasn't.
Yeah.
And then they hired accordingly and shaped their projects so that you had, generally speaking, you had a good product coming out. And that's just, that's totally gone away now in film and in comics and probably music and other areas as well.
Oh my God. I can't even listen to the radio now. If I don't have my Alexa on, or let me call her Allegra or whatever, but
Allegra. Allegra, that's what you take when you need to go to sleep, right?
Yeah, exactly. You have to use the code names.
Allegra, take me away.
But yeah, I have to listen to all the old stuff. you turn on the radio now, it's like I've turned into my grandmother or something. Like, turn the racket
I
off. It's
know. Turn
horrible.
these damn noise off.
It's like that scene in Star Trek 4 where the guy's playing the punk music and
Yeah,
like,
the rock.
can you
Yeah,
turn the damn music down? And Spock has to
you
like
give them the old exactly. See, when you make Star Trek references, it just warms my heart.
yeah.
Sequential Treasures says bureaucracy is why we can't have nice things, and
It
that
is,
it's so true.
unfortunately.
So when you came into my purview is when you did a review of Wraith of God. Thankfully, it was positive, but I can't remember who sent me to your site. You might even just like post on Twitter, "Hey, I just reviewed Wraith of God," and then I was like, you know, but I'll go watch. And I was so impressed with the quality of the video.
Well, thank you.
The work that went into it. You have a tremendous radio voice, so that was really good. And then your insights to your critique. Now, granted, you did like it, and so that was, you know, that made it. You made it, you know,
a little
more positive.
biased.
Yeah, it made it a little more positive experience for me. But I still was so impressed with your. I mean, when you were breaking down the story and offering your insights into, you know, what you took from it, you just nailed it. And I thought she really knows what she's doing.
Oh,
and so
thank you.
that's why I promoted your channel so much, is because I like to reward talent. And, you know, even if it's somebody I don't like, and as far as I know, I do like you. So I'm not suggesting anything.
Yes.
But if I see good work, I'll say, hey, this is nice, or good job, or whatever. And because I just think we need more good stuff out there. And I was just really impressed with your channel and how you put it together.
Well, thank you.
And so my next question then for you is, how frequently do you post videos? How long does it take you to put something together, for whether it's a review or, you know, a dramatic reading of John Mayallon's comic or whatever? How often do you post videos, and how long does it usually take you to put something together?
I have tried to shorten the time tremendously. When I was first starting out and trying to do movie reviews and whatnot, I would spend the better half of a week working on one, trying to put in little, you know, gimmicky effects and sound effects and stuff like that. I think when I was doing your video, I probably spent about 3-4 days on it. But that's because I would look for, I had to go and download all the images that you had available online for your book. So I'd go to Indiegogo and, you know, your campaign on there, and copy all the images. And then I'd go into Photoshop and kind of crop out what I wanted. And that way I could do different effects, you know, having the character kind of looking like it's sleeping towards the screen. And I really like doing that, but I kind of had to have a little, not reality check. I just kind of had to look at myself and say, you know, if I really want to grow the channel, I do have to get more content out there.
Right. That's the trick. Now,
yes.
Dave Ulbrich, who is was publisher at Malibu during the Ultiverse days, a good friend of mine, he has a show called Geek View Tavern. And he puts together these recorded shows, a lot of special effects. You know, he says something and a little box drops in, you know, that type of thing. But it takes so much time to put them together. And I was just talking to him at San Diego. I'm saying, Dave, if you want to grow your channel, you can't be putting out a video once a month.
Yeah.
You know, and that's the difficult thing, right? Is to make it look super professional, but still get it out quickly, so you have content, always having new content.
So you kind of have to do this cost benefit analysis kind of thing. And so what I started, and I wanted, there's so many comic book artists. I mean, I've backed well over 100 Indiegogo projects, and there's so many indie artists out there. You know, obviously all the kings, but you know, the smaller guys that deserve to get a little bit of attention as well, or a lot of attention. And I'm just not able to do that if I'm spending, you know, a week at a time to do a review. So that's why I'm trying to pivot a little bit and just, you know, have my green screen up and talk about the book. And and I think I mentioned to you before, I get so scattered-brained, I need to have bullet points, but just kind of pick out key things from the book that I really liked, and make sure I can get it out, bam, bam, bam. And then if I do it that way, when I did a review of Joe Frankenstein 1 and 2 by Graham Nolan, and then when I was reading John Malin's Black Riding Hood, I was able to do those in an afternoon. So if I can get those out there and get some exposure, it's kind of a win-win situation, because it'll help my channel. I'll get views because I'm putting content out there, but then I can also kind of give back, so to speak, to these creators, and hopefully get a few more eyes on the campaigns that are out there.
Now, do you review only stuff you like, or are you gutsy enough to go out and do a review on something you don't like?
I will, if I find issues with a comic, I will definitely, point them out. But I'm from the point of view of looking at them as areas of opportunity. I don't think I've really gotten a comic yet that I thought was just out and out garbage. But yeah, I tend to want to review the comics that I'm really jazzed about.
Right, to promote them as well. Sure.
Exactly. And then it makes it more entertaining to actually make the video as well, if I was into the content. But yeah, if I see like a glaring weakness or whatever, or an area of opportunity, I like to try to offer a suggestion and say, this was a little weak part for me. I'd like to see maybe this happen.
Except on my books, right? You're not going to do that.
Well, I don't. Let's see. I want to be on again. Right. Yes.
Actually, we just mailed yours out.
I saw. So I'm like, yes. I can't wait. And I'm going to have to revisit Garbage Man as well. And then I did order the Power Cube, so I'm looking forward to that as well. But
excellent. Well, thank you. That gives you more fuel. Now I'm even more nervous. Dennis C. Nolasco says $1. Oh, he sends me $1 and says nothing, but thank you very much, man. I appreciate that.
Dennis.
Do you know Dennis?
No, I just remember the show Dennis the Menace. So I thought, Dennis.
He's calling you names, Dennis. All right, I've got to do a couple things here that are part. What we're going to do is I'm not going to go 6 hours. A lot of times when I have a guest, I try to careful, trying to cram in everything that I normally do, and then it ends up being like a 3.5 hour show because I want to sit there and interview you and talk to you and get your opinions on stuff. So I'm going to try and be a little bit more in control of the content, so I don't, this doesn't turn into a marathon. But there are a couple things I do want to do. And one of them is I told Shelly was like baking yesterday. Ooh. And so I've got we do this like sort of snack thing every show. And so I'm going to run this little preview and then show you what Shelly made. So hang on.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
Didn't mean to cut you off. Sorry about that. No. Yeah. So she made gluten-free because she seems to do better on gluten. I think we probably all do, but I don't. I'm not a huge fan of it, but these are actually pretty good. So it's gluten-free chocolate chip cookies, and they actually make like gluten-free chocolate chips. So I guess there's like little things that get mixed in with stuff that you're not even aware of. And my son,
alien technology.
Yeah, exactly. We really got into this early in life because my son was allergic to everything when he was little. He's grown out of most of it, but he still has a couple of major allergies. So, and there wasn't a lot of information about food allergies at the time. So Shelly just did a ton of research in, finding out this stuff. And we were able to, because he had eczema really bad, and we got able to kind of get ahead of it and figure out that what foods, in case you want to know in the chat, milk and wheat if you have a kid or you have eczema, get off milk and wheat for 2 weeks and see if it doesn't help, because
Wow.
generally it does. But anyway, and she has a friend of hers that their son is has celiac and stuff. So she was making some gluten-free. So here we go. I'm taking the bite.
I'm going to live vicariously through you.
It's actually really good. So you just have to take my word for it. But this is my review of my wife's cookies. Without any special effects.
I have to use or live vicariously through you, because I'm on the keto diet. So I very little carbs.
Yeah, I've done that before. I've actually really effectively lost weight, but then I always end up, after like a month, you're like, yeah, I just lost 20 pounds. And you're like, there's some bread here. And I'll have, and then suddenly the 20 pounds comes right back.
Well, we've been good. We've been doing it for over a year and a half. And
you've been on it for a year and a half?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
How much weight have you lost in that time?
24 pounds.
No kidding. So do you get a point where you just sort of, I've never done anything for a year and a half. So do you get to a point where your weight sort of stabilizes and then you just kind of maintain it by the diet?
Right. Yeah. And then we have our cheat days too, or like when we go on a vacation, we're not as strict about it. But I find it makes things more enjoyable. Like when we go to a movie, we eat 2 big buckets of buttery popcorn. We're just sitting there
what is your go-to at the movie? Is that the popcorn?
Oh, yeah.
The butter popcorn?
Yes, very much so. So when we go there, we could be seeing the worst movie in the world, like the Marvels or something. But I didn't see it, by the way. I'm not going to waste my money on it. But I was just using that for an example.
Right.
But yeah, we'd be sitting there in our happy little place eating our popcorn.
Stippling Vaughn for $4.99. Thank you, Stippling. Appreciate it. He says, Abra is the real cool evil twin of the Halo Taco Girl, Christine. I don't even know what that means. Do you know what that means?
The Taco Girl, Christine. I might need a little update on that one. I'm not sure.
I don't know. Sometimes Stippling, you can be too clever for, even yourself. That was so far. I'm reaching and I still can't get it. See, now here you bring up food on this show and then forget about it. We're off on a tangent. Snow caps are gross. I don't like snow caps either.
The little bits get in between my teeth. I'm not really a fan of that.
Aren't they isn't snow caps, don't they have, is that black licorice or is it chocolate?
I don't know. I had one and that was it. I quit it.
Yeah. I'm a Raisinets
Junior
guy.
Mints are good. You're a which Raisinets?
I'm a Raisinets guy.
Yeah. I was I like I always mispronounce it. I want to call it like Albanese or something, but they make the gummy bears and then the sour ones are I do kind of miss not being able to eat those, but
I'm very much a chewy guy. I don't like crunchy candy. I like chewy candy.
Yeah.
It eats more like a meal,
Yeah. Appreciate that. Well, I'm just lucky because Atkins came out with their version of a couple candy bars. Like they have their version of Babe Ruth, their version of a Mounds bar, a Mounds bar, and then M&M's.
Are these like $20 a piece? These candy bars?
Oh well, I go to Publix when they do the buy one get one, and I look like a crazy prepper person putting everything in my cart. Like I just go up there and Eventually, they're going to ban me from the store. But
every time there's a sale, you just wipe the entire
There's
store
that
out.
lady again. Close the doors. Or they'll keep them behind the padlocks like they have to do over in California with everything. They just have pictures of their products, so you have to ask for
That's
them.
right. Unless you're stealing them, then they give them to you. You can get the actual.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm doing. Goobers.
Daniel Russell's like the second person to say this in the chat that goobers are better than Raisinets. I mean, I like goobers. They're okay. They're chocolate covered peanuts, what's not to like, but come on. Raisinets, they're chewy, they're hearty, they're sweet.
Yeah, you get that you get that sweetness from the raisin. Yeah.
The dark chocolate Raisinets are actually better because you get I become more of a dark chocolate guy. I used to be totally milk chocolate, but dark chocolate, especially if it's covering something.
What about gummy bears?
Oh,
chocolate covered gummy bears.
I've done that. I have. That's good
stuff.
eating. And chewy. So it's everything's right in my wheelhouse right there. Okay. So let me see. I got my list of things little features You'll laugh at my graphics, but that's okay because I'm not trying as hard as you are, so I don't really care.
Geek Avenger, he says Raisinets are for people that have to gum their food.
Wait a minute, I have to.
Oh Lord.
That's really unfortunate that you would have to do that. You'll have to forgive me, Abra, for a second here. So I just need to take care of that.
Ouch.
You got to discipline your chat, or it's just
yeah, gotta keep them in line.
That's right. It gets out of control. Then you've just got, it's craziness. Anyway, so let's take a moment here as you take a sip to check out our Frazetta image of the day. Watch your monitors, please.
That's gorgeous.
Did you ever get into like Frazetta or any like artists, or are you more?
Not really. I'm developing an appreciation for Frazetta. It's kind of like I'm the, since I'm the new kid on the block, all this is new to me. I'm just discovering it for the first time. So it's been really fun. I was just looking at that the sword that lady was wearing. I wonder if it chafes her side or her bottom at all.
There's a lot of booty showing there.
Yeah.
It's like if you're wearing accoutrements around there, you're gonna have some probably chafing.
Yep, a little bit. It happens.
The interesting thing about that is, are you a John Carter of Mars fan at all? Are you familiar with that stuff at all?
Only as far as what Disney did to butcher it, from what I understand. But
well, I actually liked that movie. There was some problems with it that I think could have helped it, but I overall I did like the movie. And it may be because I'm just a John Carter honk, but the Doubleday books, around 1972, 1975, came out with 4 or 5 hardcover collections of all the John Carter stories, and that Edgar Rice Burroughs wrote, and they have spot illustrations by Frank Frazetta in these hardcovers. And that's kind of what we've been featuring the last few weeks. And that was one of them. And it always sort of amazed me that was essentially a sketch, and a
very beautiful one.
Yeah, I know. It's like you sit there and you figure, well, when I do a sketch, it doesn't look like that. So he was one of the big influences on my life early on as an artist growing up, even before Bernie Wrightson. And I'm just amazed at the people that have that much talent. They could sit there and take a pen and go, there you go. There's your illustration. You're like, what? How did you just do that?
Let me ask you, if you don't mind. I was going to see, when you draw something, do you have to have a reference in front of you, or can you just pretty much see it in your mind's eye, and just from years of experience of drawing the form, you kind of know?
Yeah, I never use reference, with the exception of if I'm doing mechanical stuff. That's just not. I'm a very organic artist. I like dinosaurs, jungle action, that type of thing. If I'm doing computer type stuff or guns or any sort of machinery, I have to pull reference. And and certain animals, that you don't draw all the time.
Horses.
Yeah, exactly. I don't have to as much anymore because I've done so much of it recently, but I still every once in a while I'll draw a horse and go, this just doesn't work, and then I'll pull out a picture and see why it's not working or whatever, or a bear or something like that, where it's you don't draw a bear all the time.
Right.
So or if someone said, here, draw this anteater, maybe I could fake it if I was cartooning, but you'd want it to look more accurate. So
draw it like Cerebus or something.
Yeah, exactly.
Close enough.
Exactly. But human anatomy, I almost never will pull photo reference unless I'm drawing a likeness or something like that.
You had to. You probably did. You do actual art school? I know you did film school, but did you go to?
No, but I did spend every. I made this joke not too long ago that was like John Belushi in Animal House, 10 years of college down the drain. But I think I've spent about 6 years in college bumping around, but no matter where I was at, I would always find art classes to take in conjunction with whatever I was working toward. Most of the time I was working towards my general eds to get those out of the way so I could then apply for film school. And I was always taking painting classes or drawing classes while I was in college. And then of course I worked in commercial art before I got into comics, and I learned a ton of stuff doing that in a commercial art studio. So I did kind of get an education, but in a roundabout way. I always kind of go, man, if I'd only been more efficient and just gone to art school, like I probably should have done at the beginning, I would have learned all this stuff in 4 years instead of, 30.
Yeah.
But, what are you going to do? You do the best.
Hindsight's 2020, right?
Exactly. Isn't it? Always. Space Monkey says 6 years. Aaron is a doctor.
Yeah.
Doctor of wasted time. I think that's the only thing I can claim. All right. So we got Thanksgiving coming up. So I kind of labeled this as a special Thanksgiving Day show, and I didn't really plan anything to make it that way, but that's not true. I do have a couple things, but there's some Thanksgiving themed things. One of the features I do is, do you ever watch this show, Abra? I know you do occasionally. Okay. So this one comes as a total shock to you. That I've got this feature called, Who's That? I think that's what it's called. I don't even know what my own feature is called. No, it's Who's This Guy? That's what it's called. And, I literally, this is why it took me so long to get you on the show, is because I literally prep for the show like 10 o'clock Saturday night, end up going to bed at 1 a.m. because it takes me like 3 hours to put all this stuff together. I don't remember anything, but I've been previewing artists. Now people will know who this artist is, but he's done so much work that is holiday themed that we're going to take a look at a few pieces, and I assume you may or may not be familiar with him. I don't know, but let me run the intro, and then we'll take a look at some of his artwork and see what you think. Are you familiar with Leyendecker? Do you like that jazzy music?
Yeah, I do.
It's all copyright free.
Good stuff. I don't know if I am or not.
Well, you're about to find out.
Okay.
Leyendecker did, he was famous for doing Saturday Evening Post covers, like around the turn of the century, not like this last century, but like the early 1900s. And he was actually one of the major influences on Rockwell, and he was Rockwell before Rockwell. But the thing I like about Leyendecker was that his stuff was extremely stylized. And I kind of came to this realization, I don't know, about 20 years ago. I went, if they had comic books back when he was painting, we would have considered him a comic book artist because of his stylization. But he would do covers for magazines and print ads and during the golden age of illustration, and just was very wealthy, but sadly was a partier and died. I'm not penniless, but sort of on the poor end of things. And there's stories of him walking around in the 50s trying to get late 40s, early 50s, trying to get work with his portfolio and nobody hiring him because his style just went out.
Wow.
And he's one of the great illustrators of all time. But anyway, let's take a look at a couple of pieces of his that are very much holiday themed. He did a lot of patriotic type, and I don't know if he was patriotic. He was probably just hired to do it. It was, this is even pre-World War. Some of this was this piece, I think, was in the 20s, maybe the late 20s, early 30s. But there was a lot of this, you'd see like referring to, British snobbery or royalty and things like that. And I think this is a hilarious piece. This guy trying to protect his turkey from the dogs.
It looks
And
like he could stand to share with the dogs a little
yeah,
bit.
I would
He's a
think so.
little rotund there.
The thing I like about look at these,
Yeah, look at the
look at the
detail.
angularity of like the wrinkles and the stylization. You know, look at how expressive the face is. Realistic and yet at the same time cartoonish in a way. And so I really got a huge appreciation for this guy. And I actually collect Saturday Evening Posts. You know, I got some that are 100 years old that have
Oh,
his
wow.
covers on them. The amazing thing about him is they're really not that valuable. Some of his Christmas ones are very hard to find and a little bit more expensive, but you're looking at like between, you know, usually 30 and $100 for one of these, depending on the condition it's in. But
It's a shame that somebody, you know, of that talent would die, you know, almost like a pauper. It's like
it
a
is
tragedy
amazing.
of an artist.
Yeah. Well, I think, you know, like I said, he was a big sort of, you know, affluent partier in the New York scene. Because those guys were rock stars back in the day. They were doing all these illustrations of these major magazines. And so, you know, a lot of these guys, I'm sure, like most people, you make a lot of money at an early age and you think it's going to never end.
Yeah.
And so you don't really think, oh, maybe I should put some of this away or whatever. And then suddenly you don't have any and now you can't get work and you're screwed. Sort of, it's kind of my story. But anyway, Alpha Suma for $10. Thank you so much. Rockwell paints the world as it is with a wink and a smile while Leyendecker dresses it up for a night at the opera. I think that's actually a pretty clever way of phrasing that. Thank you, Alpha Suma. Leg kick for $2 says, enjoyed your book immensely, Aaron. Thank you. He's one of those guys who sent me a secret critique. I'll be really pissed off. No, I'm kidding. But he made me think. And that's what you want from a critique is like,
Sometimes it's hard because we carry our you know, creations close to our chest, but yeah.
Yes. I said earlier before he came on, I'm more sensitive about my writing than I am my art, simply because probably I'm not as confident as a writer as I am of my art, just because I've done the amount of writing that I've done art. And anyway, here's another one. This looks like, I don't have a date on it, but I'm guessing this is probably, if you look at the kind of the simple color schemes, this is probably late 20s. But again, the stylization, look at the hair.
Yeah, definitely Puritan.
Yeah, you know, or her. I mean, they're angular shapes.
Yeah.
They're so cool.
The bowl cut on the kid.
Yeah. It's just, the whole thing is just, everything he does was just so stylized, and these broad strokes of paint and color. To be that confident to lay paint down like that, you get my respect.
I'm interested in the story behind that picture. That kid, he's either, you know, afraid, like his father's going to lay down the law after that prayer, or the turkey's going to get cold, you know, because the prayer will be so long. I don't know.
That is interesting, because a lot of these guys, they had to do storytelling in a single picture. And there's a lot of thought went into that stuff. And here's another. Now, this I find interesting, because look at his eyes.
I was just say that look is.
He looks like he's leering at her, doesn't he?
You're not a witch, are you?
Yeah.
About the power of Christ compels you.
But for those of you guys out there that are interested in the technique, look at how rough this background, how he's laying this paint in here to get this sort of texture.
Yeah, I like the moon.
Yeah, it's just really, and again, the hair, these kind of blocking shapes. It's just, now this may be, no, he signed it. I was going to say this might be a study. He did these really elaborate color studies in oil paint before he'd do the finished. It's remarkable when you see some of them. They're like these portions of his finished paintings, and they're like completely painted, but they're just not completely painted.
Right.
And you're just like, you paint this thing 3 or 4 times to get, you know, this final product that's so brilliant. And I had a teacher painting teacher. He was like, you know, Leyendecker and Rockwell, we think they did a ton of work, but they really didn't compared to like a lot of other guys. Like they would do a cover every couple weeks and they'd have, you know, for Saturday Evening Post or whatever. And then you'd have these other artists were doing in between these guys. And he's like, and yet these are the guys you remember. And it's because they put so much time and effort into designing and executing the painting flawlessly that they become these, you know, superstars. And there's a lot of truth in it. You know, you're always under this deadline pressure as an artist, but there's always, you know, the guys you remember are the guys that put out a comic once every 6 years and it's just brilliant. Right.
Did they have the freedom to when they did those?
Well, certain guys do. I mean, like Adam Hughes or Travis Teresh or somebody, or Sheree, people like that. I mean, Adam once told me, he said, no one's ever going to remember if your book is late. All they're going to do when they're looking back is remember how great it looks. And I always wanted to try and embrace that. I never could because I was always so concerned about being, I'm not saying that Adam's not professional, but I'm just saying I was always concerned about being professional and hitting the deadlines and doing what I said I was going to do. And then having a family and a house. And a lot of these guys, they don't have kids. And so they don't have necessarily the same expenses that I do. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's
just a different thing.
Right. And so I was always concerned about hitting those deadlines and making sure I had, you know, I never had the luxury of sitting there going, I'm going to take 6 months on this project and just make it brilliant. So I guess when you're looking at artists or grading artists, you sort of take that into consideration, I think. In other words, I'm saying, don't be so harsh on my artwork.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the point I'm trying to make. So this is 1928, right?
Wow, look at the old football jersey.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
and so you got your Pilgrim over here in 1628, and then your football player here, of course. And there's always, and there still is, you know, Thanksgiving is like the day for football, right? And but again, this incredible, like, look how long this dude's arms are, and just the stylization of everything. It's so recognizable to Leyendecker's work, and that's one of the other thing that makes him stand out is he was able to incorporate this really great painting techniques with his own particular style, where a lot of great artists from this golden age of illustration, their work is brilliant in terms of technique and their drawing and everything, but there's nothing about it that makes it unique to comparing it to another guy that was one of their contemporaries. So these guys that have these unique outside the box sort of visions are the ones that always end up standing the test of time and becoming everybody's all-time favorites.
I like that image a lot. That's you could read a lot from it.
Now here's one that's super offensive, and that's why I love it. Or it would be offensive to a lot of people probably in today's society.
Oh yeah.
As this cartoonish depiction of this indigenous people.
That looks like one of the ladies from American Horror Story.
Oh gosh, it does.
Maybe that's where they got the idea.
But I would argue that this Pilgrim is as doofy looking as the Indian guy is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I don't think that there's anything in particular about that that is more, you know,
egregious than the
right. Exactly. Yeah. He's playing it across the board.
Equal opportunity doofism.
Yes, exactly. And I just love it because they have so much character and so much. They're so animated, you know, and it's like this Pilgrim here trying to cut a deal with the Indian to buy this turkey that he's obviously killed, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know if I have this cover or not, but this is one I've been searching for. I may have finally found it. It's so funny when you're a collector and you collect a bunch of different things. After a while, you forget if you have stuff. And then you go to a convention and buy it. And you're like, oh, I'm so glad I finally got this. You go home and you got 2 of them already. You're like, what?
You need an Excel spreadsheet.
Right, exactly. How did I know I already have this? I may have this, but it's a great piece. And some of these are the more difficult ones to find because I think people gravitate all towards the same stuff. You think, well, you know, just because I like this Why can't I find it? Well, it's because everybody else likes it, you dummy. I mean, it's not just you. And I always
You have good taste.
right there it is. It's I have a taste that is shared by others. But again, if you look at this, like look at this, like what is this little technique he's got going here in the bicep? It doesn't make any sense in terms of reality, but it's such a trademark of what he does that you just totally buy it.
Yeah, past Master Dan was commenting on that right elbow
Yeah.
on the native guy. Like,
Yeah,
wow.
it's goofy, and yet it
It is.
now this is one I have not found yet. I used it for the screen card. Actually, I did find one, but there was a like a lot of these when you buy these magazines, they have like the mailing sticker on them to whoever
Yeah.
they were mailed to, you know, because someone had a subscription. And unfortunately, the sticker is like partially on this guy's forehead. And I'm like, now, if it was up here, I'd be okay with it, or down here, but it's like right on the guy's face. And it's like, that's the best part of this.
And there's no taking a hair dryer and trying to peel it off or anything like that.
I don't know. I mean, that's like 100 years old. What would it even, I
Well,
don't know.
yeah,
I wouldn't want to spend the money on it, get it, and then try and fix it and then have it not work out.
that's a good point. Good point.
But again, this is a perfect example. Look at how dramatic these folds in the material are. These are just like basic swipes of paint in a an angular shape, and yet he creates this believable mass and wrinkles in this guy's jacket. And I also love the humor in it, that here's this guy eating Thanksgiving dinner and these arrows are coming flying in, right when he's about
Is it weird that I can hear the sound effect of the arrow? Like,
yeah,
yeah.
right in there, a little juicy. Well, the thing I think that's nice about this is obviously he did not overcook the white meat because he's getting
still
like
juicy.
Juice. Yeah.
But now he's pierced the skin, so now all the moisture's going to
That's why it's going to drain out and it'll be dry before he can get it and eat it. But that's the trick about cooking turkey, man. It's like you get that dark meat just right and the white meat's too dry, or the white meat's perfect, but the dark meat isn't cooked yet.
Yeah, it is a very delicate balance. Have you ever tried brining a turkey? That was the only time I made it where the white meat was just
really
juicy days after. Like I would throw, the leftovers in the microwave to make a sandwich and it was just perfect afterwards.
Well,
brining.
see, I haven't done it because that seems so laborious to me that I'm kind of like, I don't want to put that much effort in. And that's kind of that's my problem is effort. Effort is a problem with me.
Well, you're putting your soul into your work. So that's
right. I can't put it into my turkey as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Here's another one that probably, I don't know, would probably be considered offensive by today's standards. We'll see how many times my channel gets struck.
Oh, this is wholesome. She's making a nice meal for her son.
I love this. And it's so golden age Americana. You know what I mean? And it's like, I just, you're not even seeing the kid's face, and he's licking his fingers. Yep. It's so expressive. She's, that's like Hattie McDaniel from Gone with the Wind, right? She's just
very much so
having a good old time cooking turkey for her son. And I love the nostalgia attached to these things. Especially what's going on in current society. It's not hard to reminisce about the good old days.
Yeah, true.
Now I do own this one. Actually, I own the one we just looked at too. This reminds me of my grandmother on my mom's side. Now my mom's 92, and still bagging and boarding, God bless her. And
I love it.
But this is my grandmother on my mom's side. And there's like a couple of different ones where he uses this kind of chubby old lady making pie. And I sought those out just because it reminds me of my grandmother. But again, there was a time where, families got together and my mom had a big family, like 6 siblings, 7 counting her, but she had 6 siblings. And they would be married and have kids. And inevitably on Thanksgiving, they all sort of made their way to our house.
Yeah.
And we would have folding tables set up for the kids, like the kids' table and the adults.
Oh, yeah.
we were set up in the dining room, the family room, the living room, all had tables and stuff.
Did you set it up buffet style where people would come in with their plates?
Yes,
and
exactly.
kinda
Well,
like-
everything
yeah.
would be in the kitchen, right?
Yeah.
And so it'd be set up along the counters and things like that. But my
miss
mom
that.
would be in there and her sisters would be in there cooking. And that reminds me of this. I mean, it wasn't that old. I mean, I was, we're talking the 70s, not the 1920s.
Yeah.
But although I may look like I was alive in the 20s. But watching my grandmother make cinnamon rolls or pies or things like this was
And the
just
smell in the kitchen. Oh,
yes,
nothing
yeah.
like it.
The good old days, Abra. The good old days. Where
Miss
are
it.
they?
Oh,
well.
gosh.
I will be making a couple pies though. This
Ooh, what type?
I'm blackberry is my favorite, and blackberry, cherry, and apple. Now, I don't do the apple pie because my mom's now too old to make the pies and stuff. She's not too old to bag and board your comics, gosh darn it, but she is
Amazing.
too old to, be on her feet that long and making pies and stuff. So, but she's so particular about her apple pie that there is no way that I would even attempt
Yeah.
to do it and then have to my mom go, and these apples aren't cooked long and or whatever. So, but I do make the berry and cherry pie. And then if my mom doesn't make apple pie, I think my son is going to Costco to pick one up. And that way I'm not responsible.
There you go.
If the apple pie sucks,
It's
I can
not
blame
on you.
Costco. It's not on me. But I will be making blackberry and cherry. So.
My grandmother liked the weirdest pie. She liked rhubarb pie. Like, I didn't even know what a rhubarb was until I was like, what the heck is this, Grandma?
My dad used to, we had a place close by that was a pie house, and it was called Plush Pippin Pies when I was a kid. They're out of business as far as I know. But he'd always go there and buy pies, and he would purposely buy pies that I didn't like so I wouldn't eat any. And he would always buy strawberry rhubarb. And I'm like, Dad, you're killing me. I go, why do you keep buying this? He goes, so you won't eat any. And I was like,
Smart. It's a good strategy.
So he'd get this whole strawberry rhubarb pie to himself. Now I employ that strategy on my kids, except they'll eat anything. So it doesn't
like
work.
little Hoovers, Hoover and everything.
Well, there's this kind of, there's two kinds of mincemeat pie. I guess this is turning into a Thanksgiving Day episode after all. So there's this, you can make a mincemeat pie, which is an old school pie, right? Well, it actually has meat in it, right?
Yeah.
Like the old English version. But then there's this mincemeat pie where it's just raisins and apples and spices. Some people put nuts in there. I don't, because I don't like to mix my chewy with my crunchy.
I understand.
Yeah. So I don't like I like nuts, except walnuts, but I like nuts, but I don't like them don't put it in fudge. Don't ruin anyway.
What about pecan pie?
I'll eat, but that's what
Solid.
it is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, it's all, to me, eating pecan pie there's nothing else except the pecans. So it's not like you're adding the pecans to something to kind of mix it up. It's like, that's what it is. So I accept it.
Yeah.
But, so I made this raisin pie, and no one in my family likes raisins except me. And my mom does, but, there's so much nutmeg and stuff in it that it gives her heartburn. So she won't eat it either. So I made this raisin pie, this mince pie, that's basically raisins and apples and spices. And I was literally the only one in my house that I ate.
I just picture you rubbing your hands together.
I was. And I didn't eat it all on one day. I spread it out over a day and a half. No, it probably took me, whenever you have pie in the house on Thanksgiving, that becomes your number one meal option. Breakfast.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, there's pie. There's breakfast, Oh, can I have a piece of pie for lunch? But yeah, so that was the one time I had to pie all to myself because no one else would eat it.
Excellent strategy.
Oh yeah, I like it. Aaron needs some humble pie, says Henry Jeremick. Oh,
Dun-dun-dun.
Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm such a humble guy. I don't know why you would even say something like that.
Rough crowd.
Yeah, I tell you. My wife, probably half people even know who Rodney Dangerfield is, right? What is that? Some Brits say pecan for it. Pecan pie? Oh, pecan. Like pecan pie?
Oh, or
pecan? Pecan pie?
Sort of pecan or pecan pie.
Pecan. Well, that's South, though. Don't they say
pecan.
Pecan pie. Okay, so you live in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
What's the deal with key lime pie in Florida? Seems like it's everywhere.
It used to be. I don't know. I like it. Real key lime pie should be kind of like a off-white color. If it's green, they're putting food coloring in it, and it's fake.
Right. That's what I found. I found that out late because we did
Yeah.
eat some green key lime pie in Florida. And I
Fake.
found out later that no, that's fake key lime pie. The real key lime pie is white.
I like it with the kind of graham crackery crust.
Yes.
You put that on there, and you got the nice key lime base there, and then you get some fresh whipping cream on there. Oh, really good stuff. And some lime zest. Yeah, it's good.
Now, do you make this, or are you just a consumer of it, or do you actually make
I
it?
have my hand at it. It's a bit laborious, so I prefer just to find a place that actually makes it.
Someone else has done the work, and you can just enjoy the benefits of their hard
exactly.
labor.
Same thing with like a cheesecake. I love making a good cheesecake, but it takes some time and love.
Well, now have you ever heard of cheesecake pie?
I have not had a cheesecake pie.
Okay, now my mom makes this, and it's incredible. And thankfully, my wife learned to make it. My wife, I do the cooking, 90% of the cooking in the house for like dinner and things like that and meals. But my wife does the baking, because baking, you have to like follow instructions, and I like, forget it, I'm out.
You're like, it's just a dash of this and a
right, exactly.
Yeah,
you do it by flavor, and you're like, yeah,
that's how my husband does it too.
Yeah. So, but so it's you've got your sour cream, you've got your cream cheese, and they're like these they're layers and graham cracker crust, and it's soft and creamy. It's not, how cheesecake can get a little spongy and cakey.
It can.
This is like super, super creamy, and it's made in like a pie, not a cake. In like New York style cheesecake, of course, you'll get those bigger, thinner pieces and they hold together. This is very creamy, and it's definitely a pie, and it's amazing. And
You'll have to look for that.
Yeah, I don't know. You can find recipes for it, but it's cream cheese pie as opposed to a cheesecake pie as opposed to cheesecake.
Right.
So I would look into it if you're a
there are different ways of doing it too. Like I found one recipe where you actually kind of, when you're baking it, you steam it in a way in the oven. And then there are other ways, where you just cook it like you would a regular cake, but all labor intensive, but all very good.
Aaron's dessert hour. That's hey, we're here for you guys. Yeah, that's the thing. Some of these more well, what should we say? The more I don't know if exotic's the right word, but the more, we'll use that for lack of my poor
elaborate
vocabulary.
maybe, or
yeah, it's like they tend to be sort of like laborious, and you can really screw them up easily.
Oh yeah.
And
like there's 8 hours down the drain.
Right, exactly. Not only does this suck, I just wasted 8 hours making it suck. So well, wait a minute here. Now, Past Master Dan says peanut butter pie has cream cheese and whipped topping. I've had peanut butter pie maybe once in my life.
Yeah, I think I've had it once or twice.
Now, there you go. Evil one. Turkey pot pie once with Thanksgiving leftovers. Absolutely. That I love. Now, as a kid, I was grossed out by that stuff because like, you do it all in a, the vegetables.
Yeah, you had to have stuff separated.
Like, yeah, but now I love it. Yeah. But I was also a kid who was like, if you're going to make a pie, why isn't there fruit in it? Why are you putting meat in this? You're ruining it. My mom would make like hamburgers, and she'd either call them hamburgers or hamburger patties. If we were having hamburger patties, it was just the hamburger patties without the bun. And it was like some side dish, like mashed potatoes that went with it. And I was like, Mom, if you're going to put the effort in to make a hamburger patty, why can't we just have hamburgers?
This is a ripoff.
Yeah, exactly. I felt cheated as a youth, but
it was like a cheap Salisbury steak or something without the gravy.
Well, they used to take us occasionally we would go to this restaurant called I think it was Grandmother's Table. I think it was what it was called. And it was very, very old style kind of restaurant. And you walk, it wasn't like a menu like Denny's or anything. It was like, you can have meatloaf or turkey and gravy. You know what I mean? It was like they had two choices. And so I would always tell my parents, I'm like, why are you taking us to a restaurant where we can have Mom can make it home? I don't want to go out to a restaurant and have meatloaf. I want pizza.
She was
Now-
on her feet all day. Give her a
That's right.
break.
Now I would actually go to a restaurant and order meatloaf.
Yeah.
So I guess it's just, it's just an age thing, I guess. I'm just getting
We turn into
old.
our parents. It's a
Yeah, I
weird
know.
thing.
It's inevitable. You try to, we keep the toys and the comic books surrounding us thinking, I'll never grow old. And yet I'm gray and I'm going to restaurants and ordering meatloaf. So
Well, I just had my hair touched up, so that mine
Did
are
you?
hidden
Well,
for now. Thank God. But
see, you're like Shelly. Shelly is like super young looking and she's almost as old as me. And I know you're not, but you're super young looking too. And maybe it's because I don't care enough or didn't care enough when I was younger, but it kind of pisses me off now. I'm like, why am I talking to people that are relatively close to my age and they look like 20 years younger than me? I don't know. Ticks me off. So I'm never having you on again, you young people.
Gosh, I'll just put my avatar on.
Citizen Rona, of course, Aaron is quite the complainer. Yeah, Dave Olbrich, who I mentioned earlier, the former publisher of Malibu Comics, he'd always say to me, he goes, "You're such a whiner." And this was like, I knew him in the mid 90s, right? And I would always go, "No, I'm not." Then I'd go, yeah, I guess I am. Because I would think about it and I'm like, yeah, I guess that is what I'm doing right now is I'm whining and complaining. So
the smallest violin.
yeah, exactly. I'm shedding tears for you, Aaron. You got it so tough. Okay. So enough of this foolishness. So now you read comic books now. Did you ever, this is segueing into something, by the way. So do you just read indie comics at this point? Did you ever get to a point where, did you have a point where you were kind of picking up Marvel and DC a little bit here and there, or did you just kind of avoid that whole thing?
In my younger years, when I got the used stuff, like the old issues of The Flash, a couple issues of Batman, they were like from the 70s and 80s.
So it's not completely foreign to you.
Correct. Yeah, it's not right. But now if I'm going to spend money, I want to kind of put my dollar where my beliefs are and support, like-minded individuals.
Well, that's why I only buy old comics now. I don't buy anything new. I only buy like pre-1980s for my collection. And what I've been doing, Abra, is every week I share a little bit of my collection, and we're in the S's right now. So I want to take a quick look at a few books from my collection.
Nice.
So and we're in the S's, and I think we're in Superman. So let's see what I've got, shall we? My graphics are very iMovie, as you can tell.
It's to the point.
I need to take a class from you so I can get some better stuff here. Let me switch my camera real quick. I'm going to go big screen on me, but of course we can still hear you. So feel free to comment as you feel fit.
I was going to ask, why do you think it just seems like nobody can get Superman right anymore?
I'll tell you something. I never liked Superman until I finally drew him in Justice League, and I finally got a handle on the character. And then he became like a really favorite character of mine. But I just don't think people really understand it because he's old school values in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Like Captain America used to be. And if you don't understand those values, you're never going to understand the character. And you can't really modernize him because if you do that, it takes away the charm of who the character is.
Yeah, the old farm boy, Midwest values.
Exactly. All right. So this is Supergirl #1 from like 1974, I want to say. Now, I get accused a lot of buying only CGC graded books, and it's just not true. I have a ton in my collection that aren't. And this is like a near mint copy that I got for like $2 before it blew up, before the 70s books started getting expensive. I want to say this is Bob Oxner, the artist, but it may not be. I know I'm sure Marcus Killigrew in the chat knows who drew this, but I can't remember off the top of my head. And but anyway, so I just picked this up because it was a first issue, and I knew eventually it'd be worth money, and now it is. So
yeah,
for me.
Well, right off the bat, the cover just kind of grabs your attention. I like that. You get to see Supergirl being heroic there, but sexy at the same time.
She's got the booty short.
Mm-hmm.
Now, one of the reasons why DC got killed by Marvel in the 60s was because their story ideas were ridiculous. And that's exactly why I bought this one. Now check this out.
Oh my God.
This is Superman 221. And it's, okay.
Can you even say that anymore? Call somebody fatso?
No, the two-ton Superman. He says, "Great Cryptid. I came into this booth to change identities, and I become a super fatso."
2-ton super. That's healthy at any size Superman.
That's right. This is like who's that singer that everybody says is so beautiful or wants us to think is?
Lizzo.
Lizzo. There you
Dear
go.
Lord. Super Lizzo.
It was like, now as a kid, are you gonna like get a comic book with Iron Man battling Mandarin, or you're going to buy Superman getting fat in a phone booth? You're probably going to buy the Iron Man comic, but as an adult, I want that Superman.
It's humorous.
It's hilarious. So,
and you want to know what the heck happened? Why did he go fat?
They had so many comics like this, like, oh, Lois got fat, or Superman got a big head, you know, and it's just like, oh my gosh. Now we get into more of the groovier stuff. This is Neil Adams. And that's why I got these, was the Neil Adams covers. Just liked the cover design here. I can't fly. That thing is draining my powers.
You got that little booty shot of Superman.
That's right. That, of course, is Superman 234. Superman 237, another Neil Adams cover. Superman, enemy of Earth. You've turned us into monsters, Superman. We don't want you on Earth anymore. Get off and stay off.
Dang.
Seems a bit like, sort of like if this was a race of green people persecuting a white guy, kind of what it looks like, doesn't it? I wonder if there's a social statement in here, probably, knowing Neil Adams. There's another Neil Adams cover. This is 240.
You failed.
It says, one failure, and you forget all the good I've done. You miserable ingrates, I'm through with you. That's how you tell it. That's telling it like it is, right?
I love it.
That is hilarious.
He would immediately fly over to Russia and be like that.
You guys appreciate me. So then we go with another Neil Adams cover. This is Superman 242. And of course, this is Superman fighting Superman. So what's not to like about that?
Yeah.
The city burns. Again, these are all for the collectors out there. These are all near mint books, because I always try to get near mint books. Because it's all about the money now, Abra. All about the money. Do
you have a chance to go through and read these? Like, do you have reader copies of these as well?
Most of the stuff I do. These, I don't really care that much to read. I just got them because I like the covers.
Yeah.
I had a guy's wife ask me, it was a guy who was putting on a show, and he was a collector as well, but he switched from collecting comics to just getting original art. And she said, I don't understand why you buy a comic and not read it. And I said, imagine like if you're a stamp collector. These are just giant stamps. And if you like the cover, you get the cover because you like the cover, not because you necessarily have any interest in reading it.
Yeah.
A lot of the books I do get, I'm interested in reading, and I do have like essentials and things like that, reprints that I can read without damaging my near mint books. Here's Superman getting some action. Who is this mystery woman that captured Superman's heart and soul? And a special silver anniversary Superman story, which I guess would be 25 years, right?
Yeah. Fabulous World of Kryptonite Thriller.
Yeah, my goodness. You just don't get comics like this. You certainly don't get comics with a guy kissing a girl anymore.
Yeah, I was going to say it'd be two guys embracing each other like that, but...
Exactly. That's Superman 243. Now, this is one of the rare issues that Neil Adams actually did a story inside. So it's Neil Adams cover, but he also did the story on the inside. And obviously, I'm a big Neil Adams fan, or I wouldn't be buying all these Neil Adams comics. But introducing Superman's latest and greatest foe, Terra-Man.
Terra-Man.
Yeah,
he's Terra-bad.
Yeah, I was going to say, this again, DC, if they didn't have Neil Adams drawing these excellent covers, like no one would buy these books. I mean, come on, you guys. Where's the creativity? Terra-Man, this guy with a green cape riding a horse? Come on. Do better than that. Now here
I'd be more afraid of the horse.
Yeah, exactly. That's a nice looking horse. Of course, Neil Adams drew it. So, okay. Here we go. Now we're getting good again. Old Man Superman. Of course, that's the only reason I bought this, is because of the cover. My branding iron is making you older with every move you make, Superman. You'll drop dead of old age before you can even reach me.
Wow. I love how the Superman suit, he's like kind of shriveled up so much that the
Yeah.
suit's just hanging off his bones.
Exactly.
That's great.
And I love how this guy's dressed as a cowboy, but you got your, your modern day metropolis people back here with the cops and everything holding everybody back. And here's this cowboy guy with his aging branding gun. Poor old Superman.
Amazing.
But again, it's ridiculous, but it's so well drawn. I'm like, okay, I'll get it. And then finally, a heartwarming tale, Superman 254. From the moment on, Billy Anders, I bequeath all my superpowers to you. I didn't know he could do that.
Oh, wow.
But, helping out a crippled kid here, that's pretty nice of old Superman. And this actually has a Neil Adams story on the inside as well, which is the main reason I got it. The cover I can kind of live without, or what am I trying to say? I could
Story.
take it or leave it. That's the word.
Take it or leave it.
Yeah, I can take it or leave it. But it has Neil Adams on the inside, so therefore I got it. But anyway, I don't have a lot of Superman because I don't really collect the character, but I do collect covers and artists, and that's why I have these. But that makes up my Superman collection. Next week, we're going to look at supernatural thrillers and Swamp Thing. So how about that? All right, let me change my camera, get back on screen. So I can,
it almost seems like that for a while they didn't have a set of rules to ground Superman. It's like he could bequeath his powers, or first he could only jump a tall building in a single bound, but then he could fly. It's like it took him a while to finally just say these are his powers, and that's
I
it.
often wonder how much of it, everything was driven by, well, if we do this, maybe people will buy it. You know what I mean? And
to see what sticks.
Yeah, and being consistent with the character was a secondary concern until you started getting fans becoming professionals, and they cared so much about the characters they grew up on. All that stuff started stabilizing in the early 70s. I don't know this for a fact, but it wouldn't surprise me if that were true. Because you had these older guys working in comics, and they were just, it was a paycheck, and what can we think of that's going to sell, and probably all this continuity stuff, they didn't give a rip. And then when you got more fans into actually making comics, then that stuff became more and more important, and probably got tightened up quite a bit.
Yeah, even the movies, like remember, like he could just give up his powers by going in the chamber, or get him back, and then he could kiss Lois and she forgot.
Right, exactly. Well, I love that movie, but it's so goofy in terms of Superman's powers, but I love
it's great
Superman
though.
too. Christina Lynn says, doesn't Terra mean ground? So why is he flying? That's an excellent
that's a good point.
You probably didn't even know what it meant. They're like, that sounds cool. Geek Easy says, hey, do you have the Lois Lane becoming black issue? I don't.
Oh my God, I've seen that. Yeah, the cover of that's amazing. She goes
Curious Curious Black, Lois Lane and Curious Black, because it was a movie. And I think there was a book first, and there was a movie about this. I want to say Richard Widmark was in it, where he makes himself black by giving himself injections and something to see what it's like to live in America. And this was like in the 40s or 50s. And so in the 60s, they did this comic where, Lois Lane became black. That sucker is expensive. And I don't have it. I wish I did though now. Henry Beavis says Superman suddenly had an urge to watch Matlock. So I guess that's the aging Superman.
The old man one.
Exactly. Let's see here. Clay the dirt, earthenware, more like Marcus Killiger. Now, Marcus knows everything about pop culture. So I always refer to him for a lot of Superman's powers and legends came from the radio show. How about that? That sounds believable, because in the 40s, none of that stuff was developed at all. And I would imagine that if you're creating radio dramas that you got the writers in there, they're going to put stuff together that makes sense and they can go forward with. And then the comics are like, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. We'll use that.
I like the idea of audio dramas. For a while, that was the only way I could get new episodes of Doctor Who, was they continued the series on before they had the reboot in 2005. They just had, monthly audio dramas. And it was neat because, they would describe things just enough to where it, made
Mhm.
sense how they described it within the audio story. But your brain, your imagination could fill in the rest. And I really like that aspect of entertainment.
There is, at least around here, and it's syndicated, so who knows, who gets it and where. But there's a show on Sunday evenings called When Radio Was, I think is what it's
Mhm.
called. But they play radio dramas and comedies from the 40s and 50s,
Yeah.
and they're really great to when you're working, because if I can't have the TV on while I'm drawing, because I inevitably, whatever's on, I'll
Watch
start
it.
watch it, right? Especially a movie. I can turn on like football that I'm not invested in or something and just listen. But even if there's a good play, you turn and look, right? But with those
Mhm.
radio dramas, I can just listen to them for hours on end. And it is great how the good ones, they would, like you said, enough description would be put into the dialogue without being corny, without being
Yeah.
ridiculous, or without being, I guess, expository would be the
Yeah.
correct term. And a lot of guys, which was surprised me, was that there's at the height of their stardom, Jimmy Stewart was doing radio shows.
Oh,
And I'm like,
wow.
why is he doing, it's like a Western and Jimmy Stewart as whoever, and you're like, what, really? And it was like right during the early 50s, mid 50s, when he was doing all those Hitchcock movies. And it's like, why is he doing radio? It's like, is this part of the contract with the studio that you have to? And there was a great one with Humphrey Bogart and Lauren Bacall. We're in this radio drama, and I'm like,
No
why are
way.
these guys doing radio? But it was cool. So once again, Abra, the good old days.
Yes, yes.
All right. So I think that, okay, here we go. We got one more feature to do, and then we're going to look at Bigfoot videos.
Oh, Bigfoot. Yes.
So I know
Have they found him yet?
not on this show.
Oh.
But anyway, here's I've got to show that. I've got to do it this week because it's Thanksgiving. Okay. These are my top 5. So we're going to talk about food again, which is going to send everybody off the rails, but let's do it. I didn't really think about these. That was Grandma knocking on the door.
Aw.
I told her, get out of here. I'm on the air. No, I didn't. So I saw this list of top 10 worst Thanksgiving Day foods. And so I read the list and I was like, oh, I like a lot of that stuff. And then they had a list top 10 favorite from somebody else. And it was like the same list. It was just in different order. Because I think there's only a limited amount of food, right? That everybody has on Thanksgiving. So you either love it or hate it, I guess. So we're going to find out what I love. And you can go ahead and let me know where you stand on any particular item that I bring up.
I got
First,
you. I got my thumb ready.
Okay. Here we go with number 5. Oh, actually, I'm not counting turkey because it is what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? It's like,
it's better for the leftovers, I think. But
yeah. But anyway, so there's a picture of turkey, light and dark meats. This isn't part of the top 5. This is like just outside the top 5, just throwing it up here. I tend to be a dark meat guy simply because it's easier. Usually the white meat's overcooked.
I feel like I need a sip of this just looking at that white meat.
Yeah, exactly. I can't talk. It's getting dry. And plus, I think you augment your turkey with a lot of the other stuff that I'm already going to be talking about.
That's
so,
true.
because I don't know that anybody just eats turkey without something to go with it, right? So anyway, we'll find out. So here we go. Here's number 5. Number 5. That's just silly, isn't it? She's just in her brain. She's going, "Wow, this
I
guy's
love it. Oh my
video
gosh. No,
presentation
I
is
love it.
terrific." Okay, so here's my number 5. People are mixed on this, man. Green bean casserole. What's your feeling on this?
I grew up with it, so it kind of has a special place in my heart. But I think it could go either way because some people, they put all the cream of mushroom soup in it and all that kind of stuff, and it can get really soupy. I think these days I would probably like it more like this, where you have the beans are a little bit less cooked. So, I guess more al dente.
Yes. Where you're using like fresh green beans as opposed to the canned mushy kind.
Yeah. If you get too mushy, yeah.
This was never a favorite of mine as a kid. However, I've really come to like it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, this is like old people food, and I guess I'm becoming an old person, so therefore I have to like it, right? So I never would have thought, 35 years ago, you asked me this, I would have said, no way. But
Yeah,
I'm
heck
like,
no.
Hey, where's the green bean salad at?
You
Okay,
just want to get the onions off of it, the crispy onions, fried onions.
I know. That's really the only reason I really want it. Okay, number 4.
Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, it's dramatic because now this may not be a staple in everybody's Thanksgiving diet. This is raspberry jello with marshmallows on top. Now you're giving me a thumb. It's sour cream and mixed in with the marshmallows though. So you're giving me thumbs down. Now you don't like raspberries maybe? What's the story?
I think it's a texture thing for me. I had a family member who would always make a congealed salad for the holidays.
See, when you say it like that, congealed, that just sounds disgusting. It's like, you're already...
And you wanted to be polite, so I had to eat it. And I'm just like, maybe, okay.
Time out. You don't go to somebody's house and go, excuse me, do you have any congealed salad? I mean, come on, you're trying to make it sound
It was
bad.
her famous. I mean, it was her congealed salad. That's
is that what she called it?
Yes.
Okay, well then I wouldn't have eaten it either.
Yeah, well, we had to eat it, and so yeah.
We call this at my house raspberry jello salad, which sounds much better than
I would just call it raspberry jello. That would sound a lot better. Then I can
more
get
than that because this is you actually have real raspberries in it mixed in with the jello, right?
Okay.
And a lot of people don't like that because of the seeds, and I get that.
I would have hated that as a kid too, but I think I could overcome that as an adult.
But you mix, and I don't know the recipe. I don't have it in front of me. It's off the top of my head, but there's an element of you're mixing sour cream in with the marshmallows, and so you have this jello with the fruit in it, and which gives it. It's not just this bouncy like jello. It eats more like a meal again. And you got this.
Yeah.
And you got this sour cream and marshmallow concoction on top. So you've got this kind of sweet and sour thing going on. I'm telling you.
I would give it what my mom called a no thank you bite. Okay. When I was growing up, I had to have at least one bite of everything that was at the table. And if I didn't like it, it was okay. I could say, no, thank you. I don't like it. But I had to at least try one bite. So that would be, I would do a no thank you bite for that.
I think you'd take a bite of this and go, Aaron, you've changed my mind.
All right.
I mean, unless you don't like raspberries.
No, I like raspberries.
Okay, then I think that you just need to get the word congeal out of
it. Yeah.
And I think you'll be better.
It damaged my soul growing up. So,
well, if anybody made me eat something called congealed as a kid, that would be the end of it for me as well. Okay, let's see what's on number 3 on my list here. I'm actually surprised this is this far down on the list because this is actually one of my favorite things about Thanksgiving. In fact, I would make this year round if I could, but stuffing. I'm a huge stuffing guy.
Yeah. I can't have it if it's too dry, but obviously it can't be too mushy. It's like it has to be just right. And I do like the crispiness on the top, so that person got it.
And moist on the bottom. Mm-hmm. Now I'm mushy doesn't bother me. I know it can get kind of gross if it gets like soggy. That's something different.
Yeah.
Mushy is okay. Soggy, not good.
That's a good point. I need to make that distinction.
Yeah,
for me, it would be to the soggy, but if it's a little bit mushy, that's okay.
Okay.
But yeah, soggy. Bleh.
Now, do you like bread pudding?
I do actually.
Okay, but bread pudding can get mushy.
It can. It's the same kind of thing. Maybe it's like a delicate tightrope. You're walking that fine razor's edge, and if you just go too much in the squishy, icky,
Yeah, I don't know that I've ever gone that far with stuffing or bread pudding that I wouldn't eat it, but maybe. Maybe I have. But anyway, so I love stuffing. But here's the thing. Now, this, I don't even know if you could count this as a food group necessarily, but it's such a big part of everything I eat. Now, on your diet, you probably would reject this, but we'll see.
Number 2.
All right. All right, here we go. Gravy. Now, see, I put gravy on the turkey. I put gravy on the stuffing. I put gravy on the mashed potatoes. So that's why it became its own dish. Is because
do you do it homemade or do you
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to do the homemade. Yeah, I would do it. I mean, and even on my diet, I allow myself, the holidays and everything. So yeah.
So you're
I'm
okay.
down.
So gravy, okay. Because
Mhm.
I think gravy is as integral a part of Thanksgiving as anything you can put on the table.
Oh yeah.
And so that's why it's here in second place as its own food group, because I literally put it on everything. And gravy makes everything better, isn't it?
I think that's true. Yeah.
There you go. Marcus agrees with me. Says I put gravy on everything too. So
Citizen Ronan, gravy equals communism.
I don't know if we go that far, but only Aaron would consider gravy as a food. I don't know.
Well, it's made up of a bunch of different food groups.
That's right.
So there you go.
But here's the key. Now, here's the key. Will you eat turkey giblets, or does that gross you out? Like the heart and the liver and those things?
No. We would typically chuck that mess out, but or save, some of it for the I guess like the base of the
For the
gravy.
gravy.
You don't leave the chunks in
Oh,
it.
see, maybe it's a guy thing because my mom would always make those and I would eat them.
Really? Were you like that?
It grosses my
turkey's
wife out.
power. I'm going to
Yeah.
consume the turkey power and eat the turkey.
Right, and eat his heart.
Oh my-
It grosses my wife out. It
Yeah,
just grosses her out. But it was something my mom did, and she would cook up the giblets and cut them up, right, mince them up, and then put them in as the base for the gravy. And then I would always steal an organ or two before she got it cut up.
Well, full disclosure, though, I did spend a month or just about a month in Kuwait and went to this one place and they served up chicken hearts and these little tiny.
Kuwait?
Yeah, Kuwait.
Were you in
So
the service or something? What were you doing?
my ex-husband was a contractor for the
Oh,
military.
okay.
So he
Yeah.
lived over there for several months. And I, in order to be able to see my husband, I went over there for
Gotcha.
a month.
Okay.
And yeah, it was like Mars, but yeah, they had the best movie theater I've ever been to in my entire life, though.
Really?
Yeah, the seats moved and everything, and it blew air at you. It had lighting effects. It had scented stuff, so you had the smells and everything. We saw Doctor Strange there. It was crazy.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
But yeah, turkey hearts, or not turkey
Okay.
hearts, chicken hearts.
Chicken hearts. I would eat them, and I wouldn't even hesitate. So that just maybe call me a barbarian, but there you go. Okay, number 1 on my list. Now, of course, this is going to involve sugar because, well,
Everything involves sugar at the holidays.
There you go. Blackberry pie.
Yeah.
I think I gave that away earlier, but
Yes.
this is my go-to as a kid. Now, my aunt, she would make. Now, here's the tricky thing about blackberry pie is you can make it too juicy and then it's kind of runny. And I like it when it's. I'm going to use that word, congealed a little bit. And so you have to make sure that your berries aren't too juicy when you put them in the pie. And of course, the amount of sugar you put in with them will help that. Here I am going to say it again, that congealing. So it gets
Now, did you have to kind of drain them and maybe crush out the extra juice? Like how do you keep it from getting too runny?
Yes, you drain it if you have to. And sometimes it depends on the berries too. I mean, the fresh berries are probably more likely to be super, super juicy, whereas you have frozen ones or whatever, they're not going to be as bad. But yeah, my aunt used to make it perfect. And so, and I always love blackberries because one thing that's plentiful in Oregon is blackberry bushes on the sides of the roads. They're everywhere. And so we would just, you could be out playing on a Saturday, whatever, and run into 40 different blackberry bushes. So you're always snacking on blackberries.
We
the
have a
whole
couple
day.
wild ones in my backyard too.
Yes, it's great. I mean,
You'll tear up your hands though if you're not careful.
oh my gosh,
Yeah.
tripping and falling and that's like
Oh,
death, you know.
yeah.
So yeah, and
You
that's
don't
right.
even need a security alarm. Just put those things all around your house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But you're right, man. Working your arm through the vine to get that big old berries hidden back in there, and you
Oh yeah.
want to get the thorns, but yeah. So anyway, there you go. That's my top 5,
That's good stuff.
and we're going to be partaking in every single one. Well, nobody's making raspberry congealed salad this year, so I won't be having any of
Praise God.
that.
Yeah, that's the stuff of nightmares.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. There's only one reason people watch this show. To see the charming guest stars I have, which are you today,
Oh,
or because I hardly ever have guest stars. So the only other reason they come is to find out the latest cryptid videos.
yeah.
Do you have? Well, I'm going to run the intro first, and then I will ask you this question. Oh, you know what? Before we do that, I promised people this. Arnold Schwarzenegger is our special guest. This is a clip. And I have this little thing called Precious Moments from yesteryear, and I cannot skip this week. I got to show it because I was going to do it last week and I didn't do it.
Nice.
So here we go. Arnold, very early in his career. Tell me what you think about this. I believe this is from an episode of Streets of San Francisco called Deadlift. So here we go.
Deadlift.
You think I'm funny, huh? You think I'm funny?
Well, you got to admit, I mean, when you do that, you look like some big ape or something.
Stop that! Stop this! That's not like it! That's beautiful! That's what the body's supposed to look like! I'm gonna say it so you can laugh at me.
I know he's like,
Get down.
here's the thing. He was out in this episode. This episode starts with him jogging, right? And on this park, and he runs into this girl. This girl passes him and then starts talking to him, right? And asking him about, fitness and all this kind of stuff. Takes him back to her apartment. So they're having this
As one
conversation.
does.
Yeah, well, streets of San Francisco in the 70s, baby. And so she goes, she wants to ask him some questions about fitness. So she gets out her tape recorder, an old style tape recorder, to record him. And he's like, no, you can't record me. Turn that thing off. And he's getting really pissed. And she's like, okay, sorry. Whoa, And then he calms down again. So she started asking him about bodybuilding. And she goes, will you take your shirt off so I can see what it looks like? And so you do this whole scene where he's like posing for, it was like totally, whoever wrote it's like, well, we got Schwarzenegger on the show. We better do some, bodybuilding stuff, right? So he's flexing and doing this whole thing.
Oh my God.
And then she starts laughing at him because she thinks it looks silly. And that's when we cut the scene where he loses control and goes steroid rage monster on her. And he shook her so badly, apparently he broke her neck, threw her into the couch, because the next scene is the cops and they're taking her, the ambulance
she
taking
got
her out.
like the shaken baby syndrome. But
yeah, exactly. So she's
Wow.
dead. So Arnold accidentally killed her in his, his rage.
His roid rage.
And I will say this, that as bad as Arnold was in that scene, the girl is worse than he is.
Yeah.
She was horrible. And so I give Arnold credit for, over his career, developing this sort of stylized method of acting.
True.
Where we just kind of came to accept it.
With his one-liners, the
Yes.
horrible jokes. Get to the point. Whoosh. Did you ever see Pumping Iron?
Yes, I did.
Yes.
That's a great movie.
It's the best. Oh my God. Him talking about, how much he loves working out.
Yeah, it's like
I won't quote it here on
it's
your
better than sex and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Did you happen to see the guys that made that movie did a documentary called The Stripper, and it was about strippers, but it was the same thing. I never saw it. I heard it was really, really good, not just because there's, stripping in
Yeah.
it, but just the psychology of the women that they interviewed was really fascinating. And I've never seen it. I was curious. You haven't either, apparently.
No, I haven't seen it. It kind of reminds me of something they used to have on HBO. It was where they would do like these very out there interviews of adult workers.
Mhm.
And I think one of them, they were interviewing prostitutes or whatever. And it was just a weird show that they had way back when.
Well, anything's for ratings, right? But
Oh, yeah.
It's fascinating because what's going on in these people's heads is very, very different than what's going on in yours and mine, I would guess.
I'm thinking it's a lack of a strong father in the home growing up.
Probably. I had a father, like I said, who bought the strawberry rhubarb pie and wouldn't let me have any. So I didn't want any.
Great tactics.
Okay. Enough of this foolishness. Let's get to serious science. Now, what is your, do you have any sort of like leanings towards believing in, or what are your stance on like Bigfoot, Loch Ness Monster, any of these sort of cryptid things that are supposedly out there?
I'm not going to say outright that, there's no possibility that they exist. I would think in this day and age with all of our technology, we would have spotted them by now and
Yes.
gotten a better picture, a clearer picture. But
that's my feeling as well. I'm kind of like, I'm super skeptical now. When I was a kid, I just wanted to believe so badly.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, if we can find the elusive giant squid and actually get photographs of one, and you tell me we can't get a picture of a giant ape living in the wood?
Yeah.
Come on.
Ever since Harry and the Hendersons and, that movie, where's Bigfoot?
People in the chat will tell you that the reason we can't get a solid picture of Bigfoot is because he's constantly phasing in and out of dimensions. He's
I heard that theory.
Traveler.
I heard that theory. Yeah.
That may be it. Okay. Now, we can't trust anything anymore because of CGI technology, right?
Unfortunately.
But gosh darn it, we can still enjoy looking at it. So what are your feelings on this little guy that allegedly someone filmed outside their house, claiming perhaps this is an alien? So let's take a look at this video here. What do you think? Is that advanced puppetry? Is that CGI? Or did an alien land on that twig in the middle of a snow covered?
I think it's that one cute alien from Flight of the Navigator that the kid got to keep. That's what it looks like to me.
I've got a feeling. I see I'm watching the shadow on the wall.
Yeah.
And I've got a feeling, I don't know.
Yeah, where's the sun coming from?
It's a gut reaction here, Abra, but I'm thinking this is fake.
I don't know. It totally looks like the creature from Flight of the Navigator.
Well, I'll tell you, it's pretty good CGI if that's what it is. But there you go. Eric Hutfels, of course, is saying,
yeah, totally real.
Totally real. Let's see. Alex says, a great scientist once posted that Bigfoot is just
blurry.
Yes.
So maybe that's him phasing, right? Yeah. Like that's why you can never get a clear photo. That makes All right, I'm changing my stance.
Clearly, I was not familiar with this segment. Geek Easy wants to see stripper cryptids. See, you bring up.
Well, they're already nude, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. I don't know, but see, that's the problem. You bring up with this chat. You bring up like words like stripper or porn bookstore.
Sorry,
you lost everybody. So anyway, for me, I'm calling pretty good fakery though. I do like it. Like maybe it'd be an episode from a Muppet show or something like that would be.
Well, it looks a lot better than anything Disney's been producing lately. So if it is CGI, they need to hire this person.
Exactly. I'm with you there. So they get an A for effort on this one. I grade sometimes, the effort put into the fake videos. And I'm if you want me to believe it, at least put some effort into it. There's some effort went into that. So unless it's real, which, maybe, probably not, but maybe. Okay.
Oh, here we go.
Okay. Is this a mermaid? Is this just a fish or is it completely fake? What do you guys think? This will move in just a minute. They're kind of warming up the still frame here image. Okay. So here, supposedly the guy's on the boat.
He's rocking the boat.
And I'm just seeing this. Now, I'll tell you the problem I have with this is if that was a fish or even if it was a mermaid, why are they in the same spot flapping their tail around? Wouldn't
Maybe
they be
it's a guy. What do they call that type of fishing where they just stick their hand in the hole and get the catfish out? There's like some sort of
right?
weird.
It's guys lose their thumb.
Yeah, maybe
Call
it's
that.
something like that. The guy's down there and then he got the fish and it's on his hand. And
Well, so are you saying the mermaid is fishing like that? Is that what? Or
no,
or
no,
the guy
that there's a
underneath the
dude
water?
there
Oh, okay.
drowning, but he was trying to get the fish and it bit his hand and he's like, help.
Noodling.
Yeah, Billy Bob, get me
Yes.
back into the boat.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, there you go.
So there's a noodler underwater here wrestling with a fish, is what you're saying. Could be
Yeah.
a possible explanation.
I mean, I live in Florida, the Panhandle, so yeah, I'm pretty sure I've seen that somewhere before. Mhm.
Well, whatever it is, I'm not convinced that that's a mermaid.
Yeah, the
It's
guy's
either-
just saying, "Toss me another bud." Yeah.
There is some speculation that this is a CGI image, but it's pretty good. The water's pretty good, so I don't know. Bobby Greer saying 100% real. James is saying baby orca stuck in the sand.
Oh,
That's so sad. This one clearly real. That's someone in a suit. Look at that. Okay. Now see, Paul Thomas, our resident biologist, apparently could not stick around. He's usually here offering us sort of biology commentary on these things, and it's not there.
we could have used that professional insight right there for sure.
Yeah, exactly. That means probably somebody big is streaming right now, stealing half our audience, but you never know. Okay, now let's check this out. This is kind of creepy, but probably also kind of fake.
In the water.
So we're looking right here at this thing right
Okay.
there. Okay.
Whoa.
What's going on there? See, they even helped us out by drawing a red circle around it. It'll start moving again here, but I don't know. What are we looking at here? Is that why would a monkey be hanging off a bridge? I think this is probably like
It almost looks
CGI
like
or
a koala or something. Where is this at? Do we know what country this is in?
This is in a foreign country. I can't remember. It's not in the good old US of A, though.
Or maybe a sloth. Could it be a sloth?
Moving kind of fast.
That is true.
What about a bat? That's a big bat, though. That's like a bat man. I mean,
A
considering
vampire
how
bat.
far away they are from the bridge, that's a pretty big thing. People are saying Spider-Man, Chupacabra.
Chupacabra.
Or
Chupa Spidey.
there's always the case that it's fake.
They do call it a bridge monkey, though, so I don't know.
Well, I named it that just so that. But there was some speculation it was a monkey, and it's like, what would a monkey be doing on a bridge? But then if it's like in South America or someplace like that, I guess, I don't know, is there monkeys running around?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Could be.
Baboon, someone says. Fruit bats get big, but that's a big freaking bat if that's so anyway, I'm here I'm not necessarily to provide answers, but to ask questions.
Thought-provoking questions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. I should have my own nature show. What is this one called? What did I name this? This is the Dogman. Okay, here we go. Now, some people say it's the Wisconsin Dogman. Others say it's the Michigan Dogman. So I don't even know where it's from.
I didn't even know there was a difference.
Okay. Now, the kids right here is what we're looking at. You can see kind of the pointy ears here and here. It doesn't move, though, which leads me to believe that there's some sort of fakery going on here.
It could be a guy in a sniper suit, and that kid's about to get it.
Yep, exactly. We don't really get, as usual, blurry photography makes it difficult to identify this is a guy in a costume. If
it's like a cell phone camera from 2003.
Yeah, exactly. But the kid definitely sees something, or they paid him to point.
Yeah, I think he's either going to get sniped or napalmed in about 5 seconds there.
Yep. In TikTok, you can't trust anybody on TikTok. They're all, they're all losing their mind. Getting back to the monkey on the bridge, though, Dennis says footage of a monkey superimposed on a bridge. That could certainly.
That could be it. Very much
Uh-huh.
so.
Evil One says he should have ate the kid. Maybe he did.
Yeah, we don't know. We only get a few seconds of this. We need proof of life for that kid.
I know. That looks like the $6 Million Man Bigfoot episode.
That episode, oh my God.
Yeah. Okay, wait, hang on a second here. They have lots of, they're still hung up on the bridge bat or monkey. They have bats at the zoo here with the wingspans almost 6 feet. Oh, that's a
wow.
Yeah.
We need Shelley to calculate the size of it based
exactly.
on the
Do the math for
yeah.
us. Exactly. That's Black Riding Hood. Okay. Well, it could be.
Darius.
Well, you've read it, so you would know. Okay. Now this is Bigfoot hiding, but is it really? Let's take a look. Here we go. Now he's right back in here. There's some movement here in a minute, I think.
Well, maybe he's taking a potty break.
Yeah, it could be. Why?
Oh no, I'm looking in the wrong spot. Oh, what is that?
Okay, well he starts here. See?
Oh, was it looking at a deer?
I don't know. See, I'm not convinced this is actually even there, that this wasn't added later. Because he's not really doing much.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, we know it's not the Slender Man. He's way too short and stocky.
Too heavy for being a Slender Man. I'm not sure why there's a deer poking his head out the other side of this either. Because if you look at the beginning, right?
Yeah.
There.
There
now
it
that
is.
looks more like an Ewok, though.
A Wookiee?
An Ewok, or maybe you got an Ewok and a Wookiee on one side and an Ewok. Is that a deer? Maybe it is.
I thought it was a deer.
Yeah, I think maybe that's an ear I'm looking at. Okay. Or a horn.
Yeah, once again, the quality of everything else, you get the crispness of the trees and the snow. And then once we get to the subject matter in here, you can barely see it.
Yep. Henry Jeremick saying total BS. That's just Kelsey out for a stroll.
Could be.
Don't fat shame Bigfoot, says old dirty fatty. He needs to go on that paleo diet.
Yeah. Carnivore.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, we can't really tell anything from this except that if this is a fake video, which it clearly is, I'm giving him a D for effort because he didn't even, I mean, I put him on the show, so I guess that's worth something, but
could be a hunter, one of those suits. But then why is he wearing brown as opposed to white? I don't know.
Look at this. Look at this disrespect. Oh my gosh, you're still going? I had to step away while you were still talking about baking pies.
I mean, this is riveting stuff here. Come on.
Well, we never skipped this. See, I promised I wouldn't go long, and we went long, but we're almost done. So hang in there with me.
Nah, good times.
And let's see here.
A bear scratching back. Wizard Sleeve says that.
Could be. Or it could be just completely fake. Now, what do you think of this one? Now, one of the problems I have with Bigfoot videos is, if you notice, they all look completely different. So
good point.
If there was a Bigfoot species, you would think there would be some consistency in their look. Now, look at this guy. This looks like just like a guy who has not taken a bath in like 3 years.
That's like a Norwegian kind of troll looking thing.
Yes. And it doesn't seem to be moving any of the shrubbery around it.
Yeah.
Which makes me think that was put in with a computer. But it looks like a dude's face.
Yeah.
You can see the nose and the eyes and you're right. Look how crisp the foliage around here. And look how soft and fuzzy this image of him is back there.
I almost feel like Shatner should come out and say there's something on the wing. It kind of has that look to it,
Yeah. I'm not. Now we get a little bush movement there. Right there.
Yeah. This is like first year film school or something.
Yeah, I'm not buying this. Because this is just, or it could just be a guy who's been lost in the woods for 6 years and just needs a haircut or something, right?
Yeah, like the movie Castaway. Wilson.
Exactly. And look
He's
how he
just
moves.
looking for his ball. Yeah.
He's kind of doing this circular thing here and just boom. And it's not really a natural sort of movement thing. Why is, and they're saying the guy that photographed this is camouflage, so the Bigfoot thing can't see him.
He would
So then
smell.
why is he looking around like he does see him then? I don't know.
I think Bigfoot has a keen sense of smell.
Yeah. Well, you could be right. Anyway, I mean, you know, there's some effort put into that. Maybe get a B if you turn that into my Bigfoot class. All right, here we go. This is bald Bigfoot, so you can
Oh boy.
you can draw your own conclusions. Here we go.
Maybe he has alopecia.
Well, you tell me.
What the heck?
That bald spot right.
Yeah. Receding hairline Bigfoot. Oh.
Look at how he's moving too. This is definitely a guy in a suit.
Oh yeah.
And not a very good suit because it's like, did they not have enough to put hair on the top of the suit, or
He was out there too long waiting for his friends to get, to film everything just right. He's like, damn it, guys, I got to go to the bathroom. Yeah, he's
like
just,
go ahead.
yeah, I was just going to say, he's just trudging off to find a bathroom. That's what he's doing.
It's like pajamas with Bigfoot fur on them, you know?
It is. It's a Bigfoot footy pajama thing.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like. He's trying to make the big long strides there, but the arms aren't long enough. It's just, I don't know. I mean,
no effort there.
Yeah, really. I mean, the effort to get the suit and then take your friend and go out in the woods someplace to do this. I mean, okay, but you're posting this on the internet. You got to make me want to believe. And all I want to do is get you arrested for wasting my time. If that was actually an illegal.
He has to amp up his game there. Yeah.
Yeah, this is not good. So anyway, there you go. So now they're saying maybe Bigfoot had mange and that's why he was bald. So we shouldn't probably be making fun of him if he has mange.
Poor Bigfoot.
Anyway, that's pretty much it. We always end the show with big, exciting Bigfoot cryptid videos.
I love it.
Abra, I want to thank you for joining me and spending 2.5 hours. Well, actually, it was only 2 hours for you, 2.5 for me, and 2.5 for our audience that stuck it out all the way through. But I want to say that the link to your YouTube channel. In fact, let me show this real quick before I sign off here.
Arik Huffle said he's bald and has a beard. Invite him on Kings.
This looks like Abra'S 2 cents right there. You got all these videos. So, and the link to this YouTube channel is in the description of this video. So you guys, if you have not checked out her reviews, they're fantastic. And so go and subscribe to her channel if you have not done so already. I don't think you will be disappointed in her content. I'm a big fan myself and thankful that you're able to join me for a little bit of fun. And hopefully we can get some people over there to your YouTube channel and your site.
Well, I really appreciate. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a blast.
Sure. Let me plug my campaign. I almost forgot, you guys. Kit Carter Planet Doom graphic novel. The link's in the description of this video. It's 64-page, 8.5 by 11, old school Marvel style graphic novel. Lots of fun space adventure. You have 2 covers: the hardcover by me, the soft cover by the great Chris Stevens. Beautiful. And there's some interior art by me, Matt Ryan, and of course Kelsey Shannon doing the colors. There's some black and white art that hasn't been colored yet. The hardcover will have a gallery section of art pinups. One of the art pieces will be this great piece by Gary Martin, kind of a Frazetta homage with Kit Carter worked into it. This piece that was originally going to be the cover, and I opted to go a different direction, so that'll be in the gallery section in the hardcover as well. You got T-shirts, you got a sketchbook, full color sketchbook. This insert movie poster, this is the layout for it, not the finished artwork, but this is 14 by 36, and it's rated PG. So ask your parents before you buy There is, of course, the Kit Carter shot glasses to add to the old shot glass collection. You can get add-ons like Garbage Man, Power Cube trade paperbacks, the second printing of the first issue of Wraith of God with the brand new cover. And then, of course, all the, if you missed Blood Hunters, you can order it right here on this campaign as well. So, and a couple pieces of original art available as well. So I don't like to turn these things into infomercials, but just want to make everybody aware that we've only got 5 days left. So get in there and back that. And I'm doing a closeout, 30-day closeout. I'll probably extend it. I probably shouldn't have said that, but you can come and join me Friday night after you're like just so bloated on Thanksgiving Day food.
Oh God, yeah. We'll waddle in.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I may draw or something. I have no idea. So anyway, again, follow Abra. Thank you for being
thank you so much.
Kit Carter, and all you guys have a great week. Enjoy Thanksgiving. Be safe. And we will see you next time right here on Aaron Live. Good night, everybody.
Night.